we're back. We're live. We're doing it. Everything looks good.
Does that ever make it into the...
No.
It could.
I was going to say, dude. I don't know if I could do a whole podcast like that.
No,
Right.
we wouldn't do that, but it would be funny to do an intro like that every once in a while.
Yeah.
Give me a little check. Just talk how you would normally to say how you would.
Check.
Good.
Yo.
How fast were you at the track?
Tony LaRusso was there and a couple of Husky guys. I was, I don't know, fifth. Pretty good, though.
Fifth overall.
And I didn't look at the timesheet, but it felt good.
Did you have anybody out there waving the pit board?
Nah, dude, you know how fired up I would get if the dude was out there with a pit board.
Imagine.
And he seen me coming over the table, put it back down. I'm like, shit, keep that thing out there.
Dude, the PAX title, I think we need to talk about that, though. We need to get in there, but the PAX title is something that's fucking live and well.
Yeah. We're back. Episode, I don't even know what number, but number two on the day.
Yep. So we're trying to bang them out here in El Tito's garage. By this time, you'll have seen another podcast in this garage. And we're going to try to hammer out 2 dirt tracks. We don't give these guys enough love, so we want to pull in some more guys, right?
Yeah, I think we got a few on the list while we're down here in Florida. So before the season starts, everyone seems to be down here doing their boot camp training kind of deal that everyone does during the winter. All the dirt track guys come all down here, huh?
I think it's pretty easy, right? Everything, like when you're in DeLand or you're Benel or whatever, New Smyrna, you're an hour and a half from 4 moto tracks and a go-kart track, and 2 hours from Anderson, which is another track, and 2.5 hours from Jennings. So, it's pretty cold everywhere else right now, and I think you can come down here and do some good work, and I think there's a crew that just constantly comes down, and a bit worried about the future, right? Like there's not a lot of people, but we seem to have a really nice crew that goes to the moto track 2 times a week. Everybody links up. You get some people to pace off of, and yeah, I think it's a lot of fun, and it's pretty cool because there's a lot of people riding in different series, so there's not a lot of animosity, and yeah, it's fun.
A little bit different than New York.
Yeah, you guys are fucked up there.
We're fucked. It's all right. Yeah, well, I guess let's get into it, Jimmy. We might as well not waste any time. We got to thank our sponsors first, though, so get after it. You going to me?
Yeah, no, Yuasa Batteries, the most trusted battery in power sports since 1979. I actually have one in my hog.
Do you?
Yeah.
We still got to get you a battery tender.
We do. For over 45 years, Yuasa has delivered power, reliability, and passion at every turn. Yuasa supplies power sports batteries to more OEMs and riders than all competitors combined in the U.S. and globally. The reason's simple: premium quality, unmatched reliability, long life, and advanced engineering with years of application expertise. Yuasa setting the standard for power sports batteries since 1979. Each and every day starts with
Yuasa. Find your battery or your local Yuasa retailer via yuasabatteries.com. We've got Gulf Point Advisors, a forward-thinking wealth advisory firm founded in 2016. Gulf Point Advisors is a New Orleans-based boutique investment firm led by longtime listener Tris Millard, helping clients nationwide get on track with their financial goals. Whether it's investing, planning for the future, or just making smarter money decisions, Tris has been a listener of the pod for a while and reached out after hearing some of our conversations about the financial side of racing, the highs, the lows, James and I's big regrets about not investing sooner. And he wanted to support what we're building here with the pod and also offer his expertise to our audience. The best part is Tris understands racing. He knows the thrill of burning through a set of fresh tires on the weekend, and he's not here to judge. He's here to help make sure your money is working as hard as you do. If you have some financial questions or you want to learn more about the benefits of professional money management, call our good friend Tris at 603-731-3230 or email Tris at gulfpointadvisors.com. Gulf Point Advisors, investing with purpose. Securities offered through LPL Financial. Member FINRA SIPC. Advisory services offered through New Edge Advisors LLC, a registered investment advisor. New Edge Advisors LLC and Gulf Point Advisors are separate entities from LPL Financial. We're getting good at this, dude.
Dude, I know. Every time I want to hit this one, but then I'm like, dude, you're too good at it. Like,
it's a tongue twister.
I know.
Thanks to all our partners. It's been cool. We I think pretty much re-upped with everybody again at this point. Not speaking too soon, I hope, by the time this comes out. But but we're locked in and really appreciate the support. And yeah, we're trying, man. It's hard to get all our schedules aligned to get this stuff done, but
it's also hard, like, to deliver on all of our partners. And I mean, we need the money, right? Like we need the partners because this is something that we want to do. But at the same time, it's really difficult to, like you said, to knock all this stuff out. So it's really cool. But what's crazy is it feels like it's easier to do some of these deals than it is trying to get logos on the helmets, man.
That's for sure. That's for sure. Well, we got the stats to back it up over here. So
All the reach.
Send us an email if you want to learn more. Today's guest is Dallas Daniels. Jimmy, you want to hit it?
No, you go.
All right. One of the defining riders of the modern era of American flat track racing, Dallas came up through the Midwest short track scene, the kind of places where racecraft matters more than horsepower and patience gets rewarded. From the amateur ranks to AFT singles and into the premier twins class, he's been marked as a championship caliber rider from the start. Not just because of speed, but because of how he races. In a sport that's seen legends set the bar impossibly high, Dallas represents the next generation, younger, more calculated, and trained to handle pressure early. He's a rider who rarely looks rattled, who plays the long game, and who understands that championships aren't won on your best nights, but on the ones where everything goes wrong. Today we're talking about the road from short tracks to the biggest stages in American flat track, the mental side of winning, and what it really takes to stay sharp when everyone's chasing you down. Welcome, Dallas.
Oh man, that was I never heard no stat like that. That sounded good. No, I'm impressed with the preparation and your guys' the way you go about this. I'm a believer in if you're gonna do something, do it right. And I think you guys are doing it great. So hey, thanks for having me. I'm pumped to be on. I'm a fan of the show and fan of you guys.
Well, let's just get through this before you give us all those compliments. We're trying to do it right.
The ship sails.
We're doing a lot of it by the seat of our pants, but it's a work in progress. So we appreciate it, and thanks for listening. I know it's always cool to hear, people. I guess you don't really expect, or I don't know. It's just always interesting when you hear people say that they're big fans of it or they listen to it because it's like, I don't know. It's a little surreal, I guess, right?
I think so. I mean, I struggled to listen to myself talk.
Yeah.
So
no,
to hear somebody else be, oh yeah, no, we listen to the pod. I'm like, is somebody really interested in what I have to say? I mean, obviously it's not really us talking most of the time, but yeah, I think it's pretty cool. And I know we say it all the time, but we get more compliments on the pod than sometimes racing. And it's pretty crazy. It's something that we've always wanted to do, but we're stoked to have you on board, man. And, yeah, what have you been up to? You just got down here?
Yeah, no, I was telling Corey this is the start of our third week. Rode a little bit of moto this morning at PAX, and yeah, really fortunate and really grateful to be able to come to Florida this time of the year. I was actually just talking to my mom the other night, and she's like, it's going to be -20 wind chill this week. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds terrible. So it's actually pretty cool. Like when I signed with Estenson, we first started in Arizona. So 19 and 20, we were out there, and dude, it was super cool. We're living above the shop. Dudes are down there working on your race bikes, and you're going riding. And then we were there wasn't a lot of opportunity for flat track and the bicycling, and you're going an hour to ride moto, then it's 2 hours back because of traffic. And we're like, man, we had seen some guys transitioning coming down here to Florida, and so we kind of looked at that, and so got hooked up with JD. Was fortunate to be teammates with him, and even when he lost the Estenson deal and went road racing again, we've stayed close friends, and he's been my training partner for the wintertime. And so it's like clockwork, man. We had the same house for the last 2 years. The lady that owns it's super nice. It's funny because when we were coming down, she's like, we're wanting to rent it, and she's like, well, what do you guys do? And we're like, we race bikes. And she's like, no bikes. It's like we're buttery films, we're riding bikes to the house, rock music, and we're like, no. And so we went riding one day, and she must have come in and wanted to see if we were terrorizing the place, and she was like, no parties. I'm like, you've never met JD. Yeah. And so she came in and she texted, she's like, you guys are welcome anytime. So she books the dates for us. Dude, it's easy. It's awesome.
So how long do you guys stay?
So we'll usually come down right after the first of the year, and then we stay through Daytona. For me, now that our third race is in Georgia, it would be wise if I stayed down here past them. But beginning of March, middle of March, you're kind of teetering. You can ride back home. So kind of, 6, 7, 8 weeks, you're about ready to go back home and do your thing,
Yeah. Do you, what's your schedule like? Are you guys riding, training, running every day? What's the program looking like?
Well, with JD, I mean, for me, when I was young, it was a huge eye opener. So when we stayed in Arizona, I was kind of doing my thing. Like, I was 15, 16. Like, I thought I knew what training was, right? So it's like we would go ride a couple days a week. He would ride his bicycle. Then I got into bicycling kind of through Tommy, actually Earl, because I had a relationship with Earl. He had an old Specialized in Nicky's, and he's like, you need to ride this. This will be good for you. And so, dude, oh my God, those first few years suffering on that bicycle. And like, I would kill JD because I'd be like, JD, it's a little windy today. And he'd be like, oh, we'll have tailwind on the way back. I'm like, dude, that seemed like a headwind. Oh, no, next time we'll have tailwind. And I'm like, dude, is there ever going to be a tailwind? He's like, no, I just tell everybody that. But no, with JD, it's very, very structured. Like, there's, we have a good time. Like, everybody's question to me is like, what does JD do for fun? And I'm like, dude, the guy's a grinder. Like, I don't need to tell you guys. So it's, we do a lot of gym sessions, a lot of stuff on the bicycle. We ride quite a bit. He brings a flat track bike, so we'll go ride flat track. And dude, it's clockwork. I mean, we're down here to do a job, and I've grown to love that and enjoy the grind. But at first, dude, I was like, what have I got myself into? Like, hanging out with him, like, he's up early, he's in bed early, he's cooking food. Like, living with him's easy. He's like, hey, I like cooking. If I cook, will you clean? I'm like, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I've always wondered because I only have like one thing. I know we've talked with him, and I know his cooking's gotten a lot better, but back in the day, he was definitely a little bit off the mark on the cooking class.
Well, I know that there for a while he like went the vegan route and stuff, but dude,
Did he really?
Well, dude,
Yeah,
he was with the
little
Boströms the whole time.
Oh,
yeah,
but he was
told-
just searching for McDonald's.
Kale
Man.
and
Oh
salmon.
yeah, no, like that. I don't know if you guys ever remember, but like when YouTube first became a thing, he went out and stayed with Eric, and I can't find the video anymore.
I know.
But he like snuck Taco Bell. Oh, dude, like he ain't sneaking no Taco Bell no more. But no, dude, he's like, I mean, dude, if he was a chick, I'd marry him. Like, I mean, dude, he cooks, he cleans. Like, I mean, he ain't cleaning my stuff, you know what I mean? But like, he's cooking, and it's like I got to do the dishes, and dude, sometimes he does the dishes too. I'm like, this is, so it's good. Like, he pushes me, and I feel like it's a good dynamic for us because not that he's like not motivated, but like he's got, I'm young, hungry, looking for the next opportunity. So I'm like pushing him, and then he's kind of there to be like, check me and be like, dude, don't do that because this is going to happen. So I'm pretty fortunate for that. Our relationship is unique in that way, and I'm really happy and fortunate. Like, dude, I've credited a lot of my success to that dude over the last few years.
Yeah, and I mean, being teammates with him as well.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Like,
No, I mean, it was ridiculous. Like, I remember in 2020, it was really just us together. And I mean, I'm like a 16, 17-year-old kid, probably like borderline a dick, like kind of think I know everything. And it wasn't like, hey, dude, come on, we're going bicycle and get your shoes on. He's like, hey, dude, I'm leaving at noon. You want to go? And so, like, I've missed a few, and then it was like, oh, he's not going to invite me. And, like, he would take me and, I mean, dude, the first bicycle ride I went on, I, like, didn't have a helmet. And, like, I was just, like, gooning, and he was, like, he would look after me, make sure I was doing stuff right, but then, like, put me in check, like, held me accountable. Like I say, like, dude, I'm leaving at this time. If you want to come, you can come. So in that aspect, like, he grew me up too, because like 16, 17-year-old kid going down to Florida or Arizona by yourself, like, dude, you're living the dream. It's like, I can do whatever I want. So he kind of kept me in check in that way. And it's kind of a cool dynamic because he credits a lot of his work ethic in a guy that pushed him to Nicky and Nicky Hayden. And so JD is cool because he's like, I feel like I'm your Nicky, or like I've told him that, like, dude, I feel like you're my Nicky. Like, you're the dude that's the hardest working, talented, winning races. So if I can do that to somebody else, you kind of just like keep that going and teach that work ethic, Not that like, I mean, I was like not lazy, but with the training side for sure I was lazy when I was 15, 16, which, you're going to, some people are going to be like, well, how do you get motivated? But dude, like he taught me work ethic when it came to training, so.
What's the thing I heard about? Like, he was always pretty strong out there when you guys would go ride mountain bikes, and there was a couple hills in Arizona that were pretty tough. And
so I
just remember like you used to just absolutely death people out there.
Dude. So I don't remember that. The Arizona stuff's a little vague because I was, like I said, I had just gotten into it. I was borrowing a bike from Earl, and I was like, dude, I mean, like at the end of it, he would take me for an hour, and then he'd be like, all right, I'll be back. Like, and he'd go for another hour. But dude, I remember one day Wells and Colby loaded up, and they're going to the mountain bike trail, and he takes off on his road bike. And I'm like, is he not going with you guys? They're like, no, he's meeting us there. And I'm like, what? And dude, they come back like crawling out of the van. And I'm like, where's JD? They're like, oh, he'll be rolling in like 30 minutes. Here he rolls in on his road bike. And I was like, damn, dude, like that's gnarly.
Yeah.
Which he's insanely gnarly dude, on a bicycle in the gym, like, but to me, it's not even like, you got to put time in on the bicycle, time in on the gym. But what's impressive is just every day he's up at the same time doing the same. Like he's big on like, having a routine. That's more impressive. Like the dude brings one air filter.
I can't believe it.
For his moto bike.
I can't believe it, dude.
And I'm like, dude, why don't you, like,
It bums me out.
I just asked him like 2 days ago, I'm like, dude, why don't you bring like 2 or 3? He's like, I don't have 2 or 3. I'm like, I will give you one. I'm tired of watching you clean it every day.
Yeah, but he's also frugal.
Oh no, yeah, no, he's not.
JD doesn't have 2 air filters because nobody gave him 2 more air filters.
No, it's
like,
I'm like, dude, take it out of your flat track bike. But no, it's like
he put everybody on blast when he fucking just posted that thing going, hey, dude, how many air filters? Like, I don't know if he's trying to be an influencer now,
no,
but he's just putting me on blast. I got fucking 35 air filters up there. I clean them once a year.
No, and exactly. You get the twin air ones that you just throw away after one ride. No, and he's like, that's been every year I've known him. And like when he goes home, it doesn't stop. Like basically his boot camp, he's just coming down to Florida to do it. That's just life for JD, like what he's doing. So no, dude, he's crazy.
That's cool though. It's nice that you have somebody like that. And was it harder when you guys were teammates to kind of keep that going? Was there a period where you guys were a little bit more, I don't know. I feel like you always walk that line of like, when do we separate, or when is there a little bit of tension there?
Man,
especially when you were twins teammates.
Yeah, man, you would think so, but no. Like, and you all know animosity, or like the first guy you want to beat your teammate. And sure, like nights that I won a big race, or like I remember the night I won my first national, he broke while leading and he was upset, but he came back the next day and, told me good job and he was proud of me and stuff. And I'm sure at times it was hard to, say good job, but dude, it was never weird. Like it was never like, hey, I'm going to the store. Or he was like riding his bicycle or something, but like he would always be honest with me. If I asked a question, he was always honest. Not ever one time was he ever weird. I remember at the end of 22 when I was a rookie, we were getting down to kind of the nitty gritty, and like we were in the battle for the points and didn't even really get weird then. I've had friends that I'm sure you guys have too, that like you kind of get down to it and it gets a little weird for a while. Like, dude, I remember Brian Smith and Jared Mees like hating each other just because of a title. But no, like if I had a question, if I needed something, like he's always been like that big brother. And that's kind of why like I really appreciate him and I really value him, because he never let anything come between it. Like racing, life, whatever, like, when it came down to who's going to keep the twins ride, when the team goes to one rider and I keep it, he could have very well been like, man, I don't want none of that. But he still come to the house. He still texts me after the race, man, that looked good, but do this. He coming to Daytona and he's hugging me after the win. Like, we're boys. Yeah.
What do you attribute that to? Do you think it's like a team thing with Tim, or you think that's just his personality? I mean, I don't think he's with that with everybody, but what do you kind of attribute that to? Maybe because you were so young, or?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think that JD, I don't know if coming from super camp or stuff, like he enjoys helping. Like he wants to see people do well. And I'll admit, like there's times it's like I'm not wishing failure on people, but I ain't going out my way to help people. Like, and he's just, I don't mean,
fair
man,
play.
I don't
fair
mean that
play.
in a bad way, but it's like, dude, I just like, and that's just kind of me. Like I stay in my own lane. If I'm dedicated to helping somebody, then I will help them. But JD's like, I don't know. Like, and I think he saw, like I say, I go back to 2020, we were riding together a lot, and there's not a lot of people that want to live his lifestyle. Like it's uncomfortable. When I first started doing it, I remember like in 21 when we come down here to Florida, I'm like, dang, dude, I don't want to go to the gym today. I don't want to ride 2 hours on the bicycle. I don't want to go can we wash our bike tomorrow? Like, no, we're doing it now. And so I just like sucked it up, and I just sucked it up and suffered through it. And I think he like was like, all right, dude, like, and like so that I can give you a story. So like the trainer we work with, his name's Ty Katie. His dude's Johnny O'Mara. And Johnny O would invite him out to ride mountain bikes, and dude would drop him and he'd have to crawl his way back in the dark, and Johnny'd be inside doing his thing. But then once it got to where Ty could hang with him, then Johnny would, he like gained it. He was like, we're boys, because you went through this hard time. So I think it was kind of like that. Like I suffered through it. I never complained. Especially when I was struggling, like he would he would be there. He would help me, like, and he would get my ass every once in a while, like if I was being lazy, or not being lazy, but like giving excuses or something, and just developed a friendship over it. And, you know, it was kind of blossomed, I guess.
So coming up from an amateur, like, and I know you kind of was you and your dad throughout your amateur career, right? But did you have any like mentors, or was JD kind of the first one that? I know you worked with Johnny a lot, right?
Johnny really was my first mentor outside of my dad, because my dad, like, he wasn't, you know, like a grand national champion, or he never won a race. My dad only ever made 2 nationals back in the 2000s, but my dad knew what it took. Like, my dad's a racer through and through. Like, dude, I don't know I'll put this up against anybody. There's not one person out there in the world that loves motorcycle racing more than my dad. Like, I'll walk in the shop, he'll be working on some bike, and he'll be like, man, I love racing. And I'm like, dude, are you talking to yourself? Like, are you all right? Like, he just, man, I love this. Like, he just never, I'll hear dad sometimes be like, man, I'm ready for a break. And dad's like, ready for a break? We're hitting this race on Sunday. I'm like, and so, like, my dad, like, he knew what it took. And one of my dad's biggest attributes, and we can circle back to this, was like, he knew how to coach me. So, like, my dad took a job with Factory Triumph with Johnny, this mechanic job. Actually, Joe Kopp was running the team. It was with Bonneville. And
was that latest?
Yeah, latest.
Okay.
Or latest. Sorry, Bonneville was with Mikey Martin, but latest was, George. That's exactly right. Yeah. And so my dad was mechanicing for that deal, and he ended up like doing a lot more than really what he signed up for. But that was super cool. And so we went out to a supermoto race that, you remember Thunder?
Yeah.
He put on in Tallahassee, and I was riding like an 85. And I did a school with Johnny, and the joke always is best $100 Johnny ever made, or best $100 dad ever spent. And Johnny really took a liking to me, sort of similar to the JD thing. And man, he would come to the house like every year on his way to Springfield, because him and his family lived in a camper for a while, and before he bought his property. And then when his property was Ocala, you know, we went out there. And then when he bought his property, like, we just became good friends. And he would come to amateur nationals. And then, like, when I turned pro, he was like my mechanic for my first year. And then he got the Royal Enfield thing. And then we had a little hiccup in our relationship there after that, which I can get into in a bit. But it's weird, because like sometimes you go through those lows with people, and like you come out like our relationship's so much better. Like, and so then to go off of that, I never really had anybody else until I went road racing, a guy named Dale Quarterly. Really,
I know him.
Yeah, really, really. And so I met him through Earl.
Oh.
So when Nikki passed, Earl, like, I remember we went, I thought about telling this story, but the other night, when we went to his funeral, we were there, and we went to the burial after, and Earl's like, come up to my dad, and he's like, you call me when you want to get to that next level. And it was funny, because when you asked me if to do the podcast, I went back through, and I've got some of his voicemails saved, and he would be like, because I had a really good relationship with Earl, I can get into that, but he'd be like, hey, Dallas, it's 7:30 my time. Give me a call back. And sometimes I just go through and listen to it, which is, I don't know, maybe people think that's creepy. But so anyways, Earl, it kind of went like Johnny, then Earl. You know, Earl was like a coach to my dad. Like, we went to like, my dad was close with the boys, worked with the boys. My crew chief, James Hart, his dad, or his uncle Marlon, and his cousin Riesel worked for the Haydens. And then Earl got me hooked up with Dale. And then after Dale, it was kind of transitioned to Tommy. Tommy's been like a guy, and then JD on the training side. So I've had a lot of good people. But as far as like riding coaches, my 3 main ones were my dad, Johnny, my dirt track guy, and then Dale. Dale taught me everything I know about road racing, which isn't much, but I mean, he definitely, anything I did, I credit to that guy on the road bike.
Yeah, but fair play. I mean, you went pretty fast in the road racing pretty quick.
No, it was, yeah, I appreciate that. And it was only Junior Cup, but kind of when I really started like figuring it out, I quit. And I actually lost my deal, and that's kind of a story in its own. But I remember when I was racing, my dad like wanted me to road race, because my dad road raced. And Earl was always like, if you want to make money, you got to go road racing. Well, ironically, when it came time for me to make that decision, they had like flip-flopped. Like, road racing was in the tank. Raj had just retired. Yosh was talking about pulling out. This is 2019. 2018, I did my first full season on a road race bike. It was the year before I was going to turn pro dirt track, and I had no deals dirt track, and I broke both my wrists on the road bike. I was going, like, I just got going real fast at New Jersey for this club race, and like finally figured out how to hang off the bike. And the story, Dale, like, he's a NASCAR guy, so he wired up my helmet like and he's on the side of the track talking to me real time. And
So like Cardo before Cardo?
Yeah, basically. Like I've got like a mic, like a walkie-talkie duct taped on my tail section. And he's like, "Get off the seat, hang off the seat." And I've got a button where I can talk to him, and I'm like, "Dude, I'm trying." He's like, "You're a fucking pussy." I'm like, "Fuck this guy, dude!" Like, I'm gonna jump, and dude, I jump out. Like, I finally get my ass off the seat, and I about turn the thing into the grass. And he's like, "How does that feel, loser?" And I'm like, and dude, I dropped like a second and a half, and I'm rolling. I mean, like I'm like, here we go. Next race, high side myself to the moon, break both wrists. So then I'm like coming back from that, and I remember in those days, like I would call Earl, because he was like, when Nikki passed, and it was like a tough time. Like Earl really like took an interest in me, and I think it was kind of a win-win for both of us, because here I am. I've got Earl Hayden backing me. He's calling people, "Hey, I'm calling this guy trying to get you 600 for amateur nationals." And then like on the flip side, I didn't even think about it at this time, but I was probably helping him go through a really hard time in his life. He just lost his son.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that. I'm a 14-year-old kid, and like, look, I remember when I won my first national, Kathleen's like, Earl had passed away earlier that year, and it was really tough. And I won my first national at Kentucky. The whole Hayden family's there. His first win for Yamaha, and Kathleen's like, "Hey, I really want to thank you for like what you did for my dad, like in that hard time." And I remember just getting real emotional because I didn't realize it, you know. But anyways, so he would call me and be like, I remember making that phone call on the way back after breaking my wrist, and he's like, "Oh man, like, that sucks." And I had to kind of crawl my way out of that hole. And then when I figured it out, I was come on the scene and got 2 podiums at the first race in the Junior Cup. And 2018 was the first year they went to all brands, not just KTM. I had done a wild card in 17, which that's how I got hooked up with Dale. Earl's like, "You ain't pitting under the KTM team. You're going with this guy." And I'm like, "Okay." And I remember calling him. I remember he called me that weekend. And he's like, "Hey, don't crash. We need all the track time." Like, right on. So I would call him, like, dude, we talk once a week, Earl and I.
That's crazy.
And it was like, so I call him after each day, right? Well, dude, first day I bend the thing off. Coming up over the hill after turn 1, I'm going down into 2, and just like I had these too big of gloves on, I couldn't let off the gas, and I'm like, just bury the front. So now I'm like, I'm not looking forward to calling Earl. So I call Earl, and I'm like, "Dude, I crashed." And he's like, "Hey man, that's all right. You don't know the limit until you crash." Well, then I crash again in the second race, and he's like, "I ain't got no excuse for that one. That sucks." I'm like, "Yeah, dude." So then, anyways, like I was terrible on a road bike, and at the end of that year, I got a call from Dale wanting to be on his team, and I'm like, "What? Like, why would you want me after all?" And he's like, "No, dude, you took it serious. You and your dad, you didn't argue, you didn't question the program, you trusted the process." So I had 2 years out of road racing, and I mean, it was a crazy time in my life, but it was a lot of fun.
But what did you do? Were you not dirt tracking at all?
No, so I was doing some dirt tracks. I've always dirt tracked, like, quote unquote full time from 4 to now. Road racing just was something else I did. Like, I remember Jake Lewis had a bike. He had an 80 and a 125 chassis we bought from a guy in Miami. And the first road race I ever did was at CMRA. It wasn't Texas World. It was another track down there. Maybe
Hallett or something.
Yeah,
I've done Hallett. It's crazy. It's got like downhill left.
No, this place was dead flat. They had like a little hill over right hand. I mean, dude, it was flat, like in a field. But anyways, so me and my dad like did the class together, and I actually just forgot about this. But we're like taking the class, and we're like writing these questions down. Dude, I don't know any of the answers to these technical questions. It's like, where do you put the transponder bracket? Dad's like, on the fork tube behind the triple clamp. I'm like, and I'm like getting all, because dude, if you didn't pass it, you couldn't ride. My dad's like, I didn't just pay all this money for us to not be able to ride. And then like I got a 250 Ninja and an SV 650, and I did the amateur nationals a few times, and my dad was like, dude, I can't afford this. So it just got paused. And we kept dirt tracking, and I really kind of caught my stride dirt tracking on 80s, 250s. And then, like I said, when Nikki passed and we went to his funeral, I asked Earl if it was okay if I run 69 on my dirt track stuff, because we were getting ready to go to amateur nationals because he passed away in May. Amateur nationals was July. And that's when he's like, give me a call if you want to get to that next level. And
Did you call?
no, he called. He's like, dude, would you want to try some road racing? And Dad's like, well, yeah. And we're like, well, wait a minute, like, can we afford it? And he's like, no, we're gonna get you a wild card. And I was set up to do the last 3 races. I ended up getting hurt, but yeah, dude, because of Earl, I got to do that. Like, he set that up for me. Because my dad was like, I'm never gonna call Earl and, like, ask him for money or whatever. Like, or my dad helped the boys, and Earl, like, coached my dad to coach me. Like, Earl didn't know how to race necessarily, but he knew how to get people in the right place to make sure the boys could figure it out. So, like, he knew how to coach my dad to be a race dad, so to speak. So yeah, dude, really I was dirt tracking that whole time, like, full time, and then I was just doing road racing when I could.
But what bikes were you riding dirt tracking at that time? Were they built by your dad? Were you riding for a team? Like, I don't know any of your amateur career.
No, so like, nowadays, like, there's, like, First Impressions and Turner and even Tim with Sam's deal. Those didn't exist.
Yeah.
Like, dirt
It was
track
a bad spot back then in the amateur stuff.
Dude. I remember, like, in 2013 when he did that deal with Johnny, there's like 10 nationals for the championship. So my dad was just building all my stuff, and dude, I always had nice stuff. My stuff was,
I mean, your dad knows how to build bikes.
No, my dad's one of the best. Like, and I'm not saying that to be biased. Like, when we won those 2 singles championships, we did it out of my dad's garage. Like, yes, Tim was, flipping the bill and paying my dad to do it, but, like, my dad was outsourcing the work, building 4 bikes. My 2 bikes, my teammates' 2 bikes, which was Wells, and then Mikey for 2 years.
Yeah.
Then he run Trevor's program. Then when it went to Bruner and Tom Drain, he built all their stuff. And so anyways, I'm getting off track, but he built all my stuff. Like, and one thing Earl said, I remember Jake saying, is like, don't buy him down the straightaway. That was his one rule. Don't buy him down the straightaway. So don't have a hot rod. Don't go win races because you have, just a strong horse.
Ooh.
Make him ride the thing. So I always had stock stuff. Now, we'd go to amateur nationals with our guns loaded. We went with a mod bike and a stock bike, but, like, I usually had one standard 80 that Dad kept fresh, and then I had, one 250, and then, here this hot rod would roll in for amateur nationals, and then it'd go away, and
don't buy him down the straightaway.
Don't buy him. That was one thing he said.
That is awesome.
And dude, some dads don't get that. Like, they're like, sometimes we go.
Well, don't tell Big Phil that, because that's essentially
that's
my
all
whole
James
career.
did.
Yeah, but dude,
my whole career, dude.
When you're going somewhere like amateur nationals, you go with your guns loaded. Like, you don't, but like with my brother, we're kind of like, dude, it's hard because my dad's like, we need to get ahead and we need to get this and that. I'm like, no, he needs to learn how to ride it. And so that was like one of the things. Like, dude, I never got good starts. I always had stock bikes. So, like, that's kind of where my racecraft comes from. I always was coming from the back. I never could pass down the straightaway. And that's why, like, when they brought the restrictors in, I'm like, finally, I've got the fastest bike. And then when everybody's complaining, I'm like, you don't understand what I went through my whole life. Like, this is amazing. And I remember my dad being like, man, it's got to feel good to finally have the horse. And I'm like, yeah, for sure. But, and then when I got on 450s, James Hart, my crew chief now, he was running his own team.
James Hart used to work for JD.
Yeah, well, James ran his own team, and JD rode for James. And then James worked for, like, factory. He's a junior champion, so junior would have been, like, production twins back then.
Okay.
And then, like, he worked for Johnny Murphy, ran Factory Suzuki.
Showtime.
Yeah, Showtime, yeah. And then he had his own team for years, and then he got the deal with Richie, and my dad was a mechanic for Shayna, and James was running the deal. So he had a couple of really nice Cowie 450s that I started riding. Like, actually, the one Brandon Robinson won his first national on a Daytona, that white Cowie, I raced that bike.
Oh, wow.
It's actually a part in my dad's garage because we blew it up years ago. But he had a couple Cowies I rode, a framer, and then I was getting a little bit of help from Richie when my dad was working for him. He gave me a Honda for amateur nationals. And then I had a brief deal with Jerry Stinchfield from Roof Systems, and I was kind of planning to make my pro debut with him, and then Tim called. And
but just trying to set the stage for your dad, because your dad seems like he was the connection to the Haydens, which then became the connection to you. Is that correct?
That's right, yeah.
So how did your dad know the Haydens?
So,
like, at what point did he meet or work? Like, why?
Yeah.
I still don't understand that connection.
We go over it constantly just because sometimes I forget. But so my dad, my grandpa raced. But my grandpa, the funny story about him is he wasn't raised by his parents. He was raised by his grandparents, and they wouldn't let him have a bike. So he saved up his money and he went and bought a bike. And the story is he'd ride his bike down the railroad tracks to the baseball diamond and teach himself how to broadslide. And then when the cops are coming, he can go on train tracks, go back home. So when
What's a broadside?
like learn how to slide things sideways. Broadside.
Okay,
So it just was.
I didn't know if you were like
No.
like baseball.
No, like just slide with the gas on around. Corey, you got what I was saying, didn't you? Anyways, so when my dad
He's just sliding into home plate or something. He's running like down the track.
Why the fuck would you do that? Okay, all right.
No, it's all good. I should have
Broadslide.
used road race terminology, but
He's backing it in.
yeah. So anyways, he raced dirt track, but then when my dad was born, they were like, dirt track's too dangerous. So my dad rode in the woods. My dad never really raced. He rode probably like 5 times a year. And I think that's why he loved it so much. Cause like, dude, he never got enough of it. He got hurt in the woods real bad one time and it took him a long time to drag him out of there. And so my grandparents were like, well, at least if he gets hurt dirt track and we can see him. So
This is up in Illinois.
this is just hare scrambles in Illinois. Like my dad, yeah. So for that reason, my dad's a really good trail rider and motocross guy. So my dad started racing a little bit of flat track, and I'm not really sure how he met the Hart family. So there's a Hart family. There's James Riesel, and James's dad's Roy. Riesel's dad's Marlon. Marlon worked for the Haydens, and Riesel did too. So Riesel was like building the boys' bikes and taking them racing and was like mechanicing for them. And James was kind of helping, but James was like racing himself. And Riesel was really good, but he never really took it serious. So like he had a good job with Earl. And my dad got hooked up with the Harts, meeting them at the races and stuff. And later on, Riesel would marry my grandma. So my whole life, Riesel was my grandpa. They've split up now, but then my dad just got tied in with him. So like it started just going to the races and they would just pit next to each other. And then, hey, we're riding at the house, because you always hear the stories at Sunset Downs. So dad would go ride at the house, or hey, we're, going to this race. And then it just kind of snowballed. And so then dad was learning that whole time, like how to be a proper mechanic from Riesel and Marlon and James and them. And, my grandpa always kind of did his own thing. Like he was vintage racing, or, my grandma and him had split up, obviously. So he was kind of doing his own thing. So my dad was just looking for a little bit of guidance. And my grandma had money because she had a nursing home with my grandpa. So like she could flip the bill, but like he just needed some help. And he was just eager to learn. Like he just wanted to he was just there. And so just develop that relationship with the Haydens. Like the Hart, Haydens, and the Daniels are known to like be together, I guess, so to speak, which the Daniels is really just my dad and I. But yeah, dude. And then like when it came to the point, like Roger said, I remember we're listening to the podcast. I was watching it on TV. And when he said that, I called my dad. I'm like, Dad, you're not going to believe what Roger just said. And he's like, what? And I told him, and he's like, man, so many good times I remember with Raj. Because there's a lot of times he said he remembered just taking them, just them two. Because Nikki and Tommy would be racing, pro.
Yeah.
And so he's like, man, Raj was my buddy. Like, we hung out a lot. And, dude, when I was young, like, the Haydens, like, it was Hayden story galore. Like, it was just Hayden's this, Hayden that. You want to do this? You want to be like Nikki? You want to, like, Nikki was the pedestal. Like, that tank top he's wearing when he wins world championship? That Alpine Star one?
Yeah.
My dad has one. Too big, Nick. Think dreams do come true.
No way. That just gave me chills.
And so like
That's so cool.
Dad was Big Nick and Nikki was Little Nick. Like I could pull up a picture and show you, but there's one of Nikki taking a checkered flag. He's got signed to my dad on an XR at Amateur Nationals. He's like, this might be kind of weird, but I was scrolling through Nikki's Instagram one day just looking for old pictures, and there was one, and he's like, oh, packing the checkered flag after a win at Amateur Nationals on an XR prepped by my bud, Big Nick Daniels. And so, like, because sometimes, like, dude, you know how it is, like, when people go good or something, they'll be like, oh, I helped him. I'm like, is my dad one of those guys that's like, oh, I worked for the Haydens? It's like, or did you just pit next to him? So, like, once I was old enough
That's
once I was old enough to learn, and I never said that, but
No,
like once I was old enough to learn what was going on, and then I'm like,
Dallas is like this receipts. Receipts.
But dude, I remember. Yeah, no, dude, I remember we went to Tommy's wedding, and I remember Earl. I got a picture with Earl. It's my profile picture on my racing page on Facebook, and he like picks me up and he's like, "I want to take a picture with the champion." I remember like, "What is this weird old man? Like, just put me down, dude." But dude, it was like my dad. I'll ask him stuff because I'm a bit of a historian. Like, I love racing. And like, I just love hearing old stories. And my dad, dude, he could tell an amazing story. So I remember he made 2 nationals in 06 and 07 at Springfield. And I was like, how cool was that? Like, man, like that was 90 guys show up. I mean, he run 3rd in the national and won. Joe Kopp lead and Johnny Murphy second. My dad run 3rd until Slick ghost rode the thing into the hot dog stand. And he got a little flustered, he says. But he goes, man, I go, did anybody call you? He goes, you know who called me? All 3 of the boys. I'm like, really? And he's like, well, I'm like, what'd they say? And he's like, Big Nick, how about that, man? That was sick. Good ride. And it's like, I don't know. Like, he was there. Like, the night Nicky won the short track at Springfield, they, like, tore the thing down, and Dad was the one working on it. And I don't know. He's got old stories of
on the
hanging out.
Honda?
Yeah.
Really?
He's got
Cool.
old stories of, like, hanging out with him in Owensboro and Nicky chasing him down in his vet and giving him a box full of stuff. And they were just family friends, dude. Like, guys that, like, and I've since then had people travel with me to the races, but just, you know, they don't forget. Like, you don't forget what people have done for you. Like you, Tito.
Yeah.
Dude, you don't forget that. Like,
Yeah.
that's your boy.
Yep.
That it's sort of similar. So it's pretty cool for me, though. Like, literally the best family to ever go racing my dad's, like, worked for. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be cool, too, to know that that's, you know, when he's working on your bikes, it's like that experience is
Yeah,
It's
dude.
invaluable.
come through all those years.
Exactly,
you know?
yeah. And a lot of trial and error. You know, my dad built all his own stuff, you know, I don't want to say he built the Hayden stuff, but took the Hayden's racing and learned the proper way. The guys that he were with, they may not have the stats to back it up, but there was always the talk that the Harts they were known as fierce competitors, but like, dude, he used to tell stories at Terry Poovey and Steve Moorhead coming over to ask Riesel questions. Like, there's just some people that just get it. Like, my dad's one of them, man. Like, he can't really explain why he knows what he knows. He just knows it, you know, like going
Can't
racing.
buy experience.
Yeah, dude, you can't go racing all those years and not learn something.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
No, he's been around a long time. I think what's cool about your dad, and I think you've got that too, is just you'd never know it. You know, I mean,
Yeah,
he
exactly.
just works.
But
Very-
and too,
he's
like,
humble.
dude, there's, yeah.
And I mean, you know, a story of myself is, you know, 2019 thing exploded. My Kawasaki at probably
Oh, yeah, I
the
remember
lowest
that.
time in my series, and Tim comes out, hey man, bring it in the shop. Your dad's the first one to be like, hey, let's pull this thing apart and let's have a look. It was a Kawasaki. I was on my own. I had the silver bullet, and like. And he's like, hey, here's what we need to do. Here's what we got to get. You know, you can leave it here. We're going to put it back together. We're going to get you back. I'm like,
No, dude,
I didn't even know him. Didn't
He's
know any
pretty
of you.
quiet, and like, my dad looks like gnarly from the outside looking in. Like, I don't want to talk to that guy. He looks kind of scary. And like, dude, my dad was tough. Like, he was
Dickie's
a lot
hanging down, dude.
long
Like,
black
yeah, bro,
socks.
dude.
Yeah.
Like, that guy's not wearing shorts, dude.
Matt-
Only a little
I mean,
bit
he's
of
not-
skin showing
he's
between
not-
the socks
yeah,
and the
that,
shorts.
that guy's not wearing pants, just
Dude,
shorts
the,
only.
The joke with Whale when we became good friends, he's like, dude, you just cut those pants into shorts. He's like, no, dude, they're shorts. My dad's dressed like that as long as I can remember. But
That's
when
OG.
yeah, dude, he's like he was tough when I was young. Like, it was gnarly, but he was always fair, you know, and willing to help anybody too, you know, especially but too, he might tell you a little something you don't want to hear. But like, for you, he's seen what you were putting in, that work you're putting in. You're driving to Arizona in this van that I wouldn't even call it a van. I don't even know what it was. Like, that thing was gnarly. We're taking the couch out of it one day. It won't start. He's like, dude, it's got no AC, no cruise. I'm like, Jesus. And so Dad, like, sees that, dude. Like, he's willing. If you're willing to put in the work and you're willing to listen, he will help. Now, you come to him and be like, hey, Nick, what do you think about gearing? He'll be like, oh, I think this. Well, so-and-so said this. Cool. Listen to so-and-so. He ain't got time for nonsense. He's always been that way. Like, dude, I remember going racing. We were telling these stories, and I don't really remember this too much, but like, my dad, like Raj said, you know, with Earl, he was a little harder than Earl, but he was brutally honest too. That, like, I would say I'd be at a short track race and get like a 5th on a 50 and be like, can I go get my trophy? And be like, do you think you deserve it? I'm like, no. And I'd go get in the van, and my mom would be about in tears because my mom's a sweetheart. And he'd be like, hey, just trust the process type of thing. But then we go the next weekend and say I get like a 6, but I come from the back. I rode good. I wasn't goofing off. He'd be like, buddy, go get your trophy. And I go get my trophy. And like, so he was fair. Like my dad never yelled at me and didn't tell me how to fix it. And then everything with my dad was a lesson. Dude, we're driving down the road. We're getting food. Somebody's doing something they're not supposed to. We're driving real fast in the van on the back road. Don't ever drive your car like this. Like, so everything with my dad was a lesson. And as long as I was willing to put in the work, or, you know, he was willing to help, and same with anybody, really. He's just always been that guy.
Was he like, I mean, you know, Raj always said, like, you know, Earl was, you got to be like this. Like, was your dad like, you say you learned a lot from JD on training and stuff like that. Was your dad before that telling you had to train and ride and stuff like that? Or was he allowing you to just figure that sort of thing out? Or
yeah, that's a good question. My dad, like, that's kind of where it was tough because he didn't really, like, he knew he could do it for a race. Like, he didn't know what it took to be an all-around athlete. Because my dad, like, he loved racing, but he'd like having a good time too, you know? So he was on me a lot. Like, I always wrestled. Kindergarten through 8th grade, I wrestled because he's like, you didn't know that?
no, dude, everybody, we literally, you're like,
Every flat track racer.
every flat
Yeah,
tracker is
well,
like, yeah, I wrestled when I was a kid.
Yeah, but it was like, dude, if you want to race, you need to stay fit through the winter. You're just going to get fat sitting on the couch. So, like, I didn't necessarily love wrestling, but, like, hey, you want to race? Like, it's funny because I see kids, like, parents, they'll be like, oh, you know, Toby, he don't want to wrestle. My dad's like, it wasn't an option. You're doing it. I'm like, shit, all right, yeah. I didn't argue with my dad. Like, hey, you're doing this. All right, sounds good.
Were you any kid?
No, not at the beginning. At the end, but I never took it serious. Like, I never took school serious either. I hated school. But school was always a big part of my life because my grandpa was a superintendent of schools. So it's like, dude, if you want to go racing, you have a C or above, which it's not that difficult. But when you're me and you don't care about school, the only reason I cared about school is because I wanted to go racing. This is so embarrassing. I don't even want to tell this. One time I was going to go do this ice indoor race. And for whatever reason, my parents just decided to check my grades. And I was failing art class. How do you fail art class? You just don't do the work. And my dad's like, well, we're not going. And I'm like, he always says this. He's like, no, we're not. Dude, I was in the tank. And I went in for 2 straight days, got all my work done. By the time I was done at the end of those 2 days, I was at a B. He's like, you idiot, if you would have just done it. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. And I look back now and I kind of regret it because it's like, now I'm in that mindset of, like I said at the beginning, like, if you're going to do it right. And my dad was always like that. Like, dude, appreciate school, because he's like, I hated school too. And he would like, you know, he'd like, when he dropped me off, he'd be like, man, it sucks, don't it? And I'd be like, dude, come on. But like, I just never took it serious. Like, as far as wrestling, like, I just wanted it to be over.
Yeah.
I just wanted to ride. All I wanted to do is ride my bike. And the winter was a hard time because it was like, you never knew when the next time was. You know, money was tight for us. Are we going to make it to Bike Week this year? I don't know. Are we going to be able to travel to this race? I sure hope so. So it just was interesting time. I don't reflect on those years a lot, but yeah, no, I wrestled for a lot of years. In my freshman year, I quit because I really started road racing a bit, and I was flat tracking a lot, and the coaches there were kind of dickheads. And so they, you know, I'm like, can I just come do practice? And they're like, nope. You either do the whole thing or not. I'm like, oh, shoot. And that was kind of the time, like, I learned, like, about people, not everybody supporting the dream. Because, like, my parents and my sister always supported me. My grandparents, my family, always had a great support system. But then I'd have teachers be like, why are you gone all the time? I'm like, I'm racing motorcycles. You think that's going to, come on, when are you going to stop that? You need to do this now to prepare your future. And I'm like, I'm preparing for my future. But this is what I want to do. Like, I remember one time I was goofing off one time in class, and I had been gone for 2 weeks racing in Bike Week. And she snapped at me, and she's like, you're not listening. You're never here. You think that racing's going to take you somewhere, and isn't you need to pay attention or you're going to be nothing. And I'm like,
bite your tongue.
Right. You know what I mean? And so I remember ironically, I was telling that story, and she walked in where we were eating breakfast one time, and she come over and she's like, oh, good to see you. And I was talking all this shit. Like, if I ever see her again. And then when she walked in, I'm like, and I like didn't say anything. I was like, oh, shit. But I'm like, if you only knew, like, whatever. So
We hear that a lot. I mean, it happened in my school as well. Like it was always like, what's your plan B? Racing isn't a plan.
Yeah,
Like
that's
a hobby.
Yeah, that's how they always looked at it, and I didn't know how to explain it to him. I was so young, and like I said, when I signed my deal with Tim, his wife Tracy was like, "You have to finish school. Like, there's no dropping out."
That's what Wellesley said.
And they made him go back to school.
Yeah.
And I was like, that wasn't like a deal for me because that was already on the table. Like I said, my grandpa was the superintendent of schools. My grandma was a teacher. Shoot, my mom's a teacher now. Both of my aunts are teachers. Like, school is just important in that side of our family.
Public school?
Yes.
The whole time?
Well, no. So when it came time, after my freshman year, Tim's like, I want you living out in Arizona. And so I did. They set this up, a homeschool program through the school. So like I was on my computer, but I was still enrolled in school. So like I still graduated with my class. I didn't walk because I was racing a national in Chicago, actually, Joliet.
Oh yeah.
And that was actually the night I graduated. And then like, dude, those were so tough. Those years were tough because like whenever I'd get home from Arizona, from March to whenever school was out, if I was home, my mom made me go to school. And I'm like, Mom, do I have to sit back here on my computer for 8 hours a day? Like, why can't I just do this at home? And then I had to like argue with the school. They're like, you need to do your PE, your physical education. I'm like, I'm going riding, I'm training. They're like, you're not exercising. I'm like, dude, come for a day, please. Like, come ride with me. Like, so then I remember one time, like during COVID, I had to sit upstairs and go through an online workout of like jumping jacks and push-ups. And I'm like, this is ignorant. Like this is stupid. And so, but yeah, like I finished school and I had a really good teacher that that did that. And she took care of me and like looked out for me. And so yeah, school was important, but I just never really took it seriously.
It's cool though that Tim and his wife required that. That's not probably something that's so normal. Like I don't think you hear many like motocross teams making their kids.
No, so it was
graduate.
funny. It was funny when Mikey Rush got hired. She was, I mean, he's in his 30s. He has a family. She's like, do you have a high school diploma? And he was pumped. He's like, finally, I get to use this thing. Like he had never had to use it for a job or anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was strict. Like when I flew out there to have the meeting with him, with my dad, she was like, are you in school? And Dad, we're like, yes, like school is very important. Like I just told you. And she's like, okay, you are not riding for us if you do not finish school. Like no ifs, ands, or buts. Like they made Wells go back to school.
I know. I did it with him.
Yeah.
I went back to school with him.
I know.
The same year.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Me and Wells literally grinded out in Tito's house. We grinded out. We both had 1 year left, and we grinded
No,
it
dude,
out.
because he like kind of laughed, and she's like, "You think I'm joking?" And I'm like, "Whoa," and like made him do it.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. So I
That
mean,
was crazy.
You look back now, and at the time, I'm like. You're like, whatever, but I'm super thankful. You need school. You got to have that stuff. And like, it's important.
It's the basics. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, like to get a high school diploma is like the first thing of, you need to have that sort of responsibility. I mean, college if you want it, if you don't, if you like it or whatever, but you got to have you got to be a decent human being and you need to know the basics.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, exactly. If you want to make it anywhere in life, because there is a life after racing, then like racing is everything, but it's not completely everything. Like you need to have some sort of intelligence. So I'm thankful. I don't regret going through school. As a matter of fact, I regret not enjoying it enough. Now I tell my little brother, it's like, dude, enjoy those times with your friends and stuff. Like once it's over, it's over.
Are you actively helping does your brother want to be a racer?
Yeah.
Like is he serious or?
Kind of. I don't think he really knows. So for those.
How old is he?
Oh my God, 13. So for those that don't know, I have a little brother, 13, that is just my dad's. My parents split up when I was 7 for a few years, and my dad had Beckham, that's his name, and he was, we didn't really have much relationship with him at first, and so then he dude, I will say about him, he loves riding a dirt bike, especially with the boys. Like, dude, if there's a group
cool.
of people, like the packs, oh my God, he would just live for that. Like the boys riding, telling how the track is. Like, dude, he just loves it. He'll just put laps after laps. Now, racing, I think it's coming. He's had a couple good licks these last few years that have kind of made him question reality.
Yeah.
So,
We all.
but he's a good kid. He's got a good heart. He's had quite a few issues with school and, parents being split up. I know from experience, it's not easy. And he acts out a little bit. He's getting better. But, racing has been the thing sort of keeping him on the straight and narrow a little bit, I think. And the one thing I'll say about him, my dad and I joke about it all the time, you cannot break his spirit. Like, dude, try to put that kid through the trenches. Like, how sometimes you got to break people down, build them up. I can't break him. Like, I've tried, and we've all tried. And, like, he just is, whatever we're doing, he's going to enjoy. If you're like, hey, dude, I'm doing this podcast, just go stand outside. He's going to throw some rocks or find a kid to play with or something. Like, he's just.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's one of them. And it's total opposite of me. Like, I was like, don't talk to nobody, do my own thing. I'm really shy, like when I was young. And he's just like, hey, I'm Beckham. You want to hang out? And they're like, yeah, whatever. He's funny, now that he's starting to mature and like he's done a lot of wrongs, but he's figuring it out. And yeah, dude, it's cool. It's cool going racing with him because I get to kind of like relive my younger years through him. So like there's times we'll be talking and I'll just start laughing and they're like, what's funny? I'm like, I just remember hearing this, like, telling him something and then you're like, no, you don't ride on the groove. He's like, but you told me. It's like, no, not here.
Yeah.
Like one of my dad's things, always start on the groove. I'm like, okay. So I was on like a 50. We go to DuQuoin Indoor. First pick in the heat race. I line up. I'm like, Dad's gonna love this, dude. Right on the groove. Terrible start. Get like dead last. He comes, what are you doing? I'm like, start on the groove. He's like, not at an indoor. I'm like, and then like as a kid, and I see Beckham's wheels turning. And he's like, and I remember thinking this, being like, okay, start on the groove, not at an indoor. All right, I got it. Write that down. So it's cool. It's fun to go racing with him and see him.
Why can't you start on the groove on an indoor?
Oh, well, you just don't start on the outside.
Yeah, but you can't, dude. It's too short to turn one.
Yeah,
so the time you get rolling.
Start on the inside. But it's been fun, like just to see his wheels turn. It's almost more fun to watch him struggle just because, like, I just remember going through that and the good times too, like when he wins races. And it's just fun. It's fun to live through them a little,
It does. It probably makes you appreciate those times now because when you're in it you don't appreciate it.
No, you don't even realize it. Or like
like
going to amateur nationals and looking at all the families. Mom's over there got a baby in the thing and she's making food and Junior's sweating, Dad's changing gearing, and I'm like, dude,
those are the
life,
days.
man.
Those are the days.
Because like, dude, you get to this point now, like it's stressful. We talk about putting your program together, like finding sponsors, like, dude, you got to win. Like, dude, those, like, you got off the bike and you're like, we can see what my buddies are up to. We're going to play in the dirt and I'm going to eat some of this watermelon Mom cut up this morning. And then we're going to hang out by the pool after. Like, amateur nationals was just awesome. And yeah, to kids listening, enjoy it because when it's over, man.
It is. Did you ever have any issues in school? Were you complete opposite? Like, were you ever a problem child at any point or?
I had issues. Yeah. Not a lot. I think sometimes I would get caught up trying to be like the funny guy. And it would be funny until it wasn't. And
usually,
but I got put in my parents put me in check like pretty early on. Like by the time I got out of grade school, I was like, but I was all like, it was weird. Like some kids, they're better in school than they are at home. Like I was always really good at home. Like I respected my parents. I respected my mom. I just would say some things. Like I never like did anything horrible. I would just say outlandish things sometimes. But no, I never had any like big issues. I got in one fight when I was in middle school. That was kind of the extent.
That's big.
Yeah, dude, it's tough. A huge goose egg on my forehead.
You got hit?
Yeah, oh yeah. No, and that was kind of the extent of my trouble.
Why do you think you and your little brother are so much different?
Well, for one, he grew up in a way different environment than I did. Each parent has an equally part in raising a kid, I feel like. And I had a really good mom, dude. My mom, like, she's gnarly. Like, she worked 2 jobs when I was a kid and always made time for her kids, lived for her kids, and just is the biggest sweetheart ever. Like, she literally will do anything for you if she loves you. And I think that's very important. And not that Beckham's mom's not that, but she's just a lot different than my mom. And growing up in a household where your parents are split up, that's a big thing. Like I remember when my parents split up, like it was really hard for my sister and I. And I know it's a common thing people go through. I'm not acting like mine was any more difficult, but and the racing never slowed down. Like we always kept racing, but like it brought my sister and I closer because I have a younger sister too who's in college at the University of Tampa. It brought us closer because anywhere that she, if she wanted to go to mom's and we were supposed to be at dad's, I had to go with her. Like, so it's kind of like the Earl and Nikki thing. Like, it's finding the beauty in something really bad. Like, my sister and I's relationship came really close. When Nikki passed, Earl and I became close. And so it's just like, I've always been one of those people to find the good in a bad situation. But to circle back, I think that's why Beckham was a lot different. He was, when he was young, my dad was kind of not in his life a lot. And as he got older, then it's just kind of trying to pick up those broken pieces. And so it's been a process, but yeah, no, we love him for who he is.
Is it hard trying to balance all that stuff because you were basically growing up at the track racing, and like I assume by the point you were 14, 15 years old, you kind of decided this was what you were going to do. This was your trajectory.
Actually, a little bit earlier than that. When my dad worked for Johnny on the Triumph, we were traveling around racing, and we always we raced a lot, but it was local. And I was kind of getting to the point where I was winning a little, but I was losing a lot. And I was every once in a while I'd have a really good ride. And my dad says that one day I was like, hey, how do we win all these races? Can we just win these? And he's like, well, we need to put a lot more work in. And so we started traveling a lot more. That's kind of when I straightened myself out. I was kind of goofing off, kind of lazy. And then it was like, hey dude, I remember going to Daytona every year and just Jake Johnson, Jared Mees, Kenny Coolbeth, Chris Carr, man, that's awesome. Dude, I would just stare at the fence all night long. Go to Peoria and park, you park in the infield. I'd take a 5-gallon pail and stand on the thing at the fence and not miss a session. And so I was like, man, I want to be one of these guys. My dad's like, all right, dude, well, it's going to take some work. Are you willing to do that? I'm like, yeah. So as long as I showed him I was willing to be good in school, be nice to my sister, check all the boxes, he was willing to do it for me. I remember one time we were going to go do this race in Macomb, Illinois. It rained out. My dad was borrowing a van from a buddy. He's like, Medina, New York, you seen that track? Man, it's badass. They're having a race tomorrow. And the guy that was driving with us, his name's Andy Hosick. Man, that guy drove a lot of miles and never, spent his own money. He's like, we can't make it there, Nick. He's like, shit, yeah, we can. Roll in right before practice. That's a whole nother story.
What year?
2014.
Okay.
Yeah, and I remember we rolled in and you got to park so we park next to this guy, and he's like, "Where you all from?" Dad's like, "Oh, we're from Illinois." He's like, "Oh, out of towners, awesome. Yeah, hey, you won't win here. Never win your first time here." Dad's like, "Okay." And dude, if you ever met my dad, he's like, "All right, well, can we try?" Oh, you could try. Right, all right, thanks, man. Leading the heat race, master clip brakes on the chain. Guy comes in, Dad's fixing the chain. And he's like, oh, man, you had a good shot. Now you'll just be lucky to make it. So my dad's like, hey, like I say, my dad, is it cool if we still try? Yep. All right. So we go out and win the LCQ or semi. Oh, you made it in. No way you're winning from the back row. And my dad's just smoke rolling out of his ears. Well, I go out and I pass the dude in the pit corner around the outside last lap to win the race. Well, now the guy's nowhere to be found. And my dad chases him down. He's like, hey, dude, you see it? We did the impossible. We did it. And dude this guy's like, yeah, I saw it. And he's like, no, you don't understand. We did the impossible. And so it's but anyways, dude, I remember that. And then the next year I was getting on 250s and I was going to race the mile. And he's like, if you want to race the mile, you need to get stronger. So hired me a trainer.
How old?
Now I was 12 or would have been 11 turning 12.
Still amateur. Everything's amateur.
Still everything's amateur. I'm wrestling. So a kid I wrestled with was getting some strength training from a guy who's now passed away, but he was really smart. And the kid I wrestled with, his dad was investing in him, and they started a gym, and they had a lot of clients. And so, dude, I was I think I was squatting 200 pounds as a 12-year-old, before amateur nationals. I know it sounds kind of crazy, just like a PR. And I didn't.
He rolls them down.
Yeah, dude, don't look at the thighs now. It's not. I'm not proud of it. But so it's yeah. He's like, all right, dude, you're gonna do this. And so I remember getting up before school, going there in the summertime, or after school, after practice, because I wanted to do it. And I'm not gonna sit here and tell you I worked with a trainer from then on. That it was really a 1-year deal because the guy ended up having some issues. But yeah, dude, from 11 on, I was like pretty dead set. Like, this is what I want to do. Like, no doubt in my mind. And not like there was no plan B. Like, I was making this work like tenfold. It wasn't like, it's like, well, what if it doesn't happen? I don't know. It's not going to not happen. Well, what if it doesn't? I don't know. I'll work at McDonald's. Like, I don't care. This is happening.
This is what you want to do.
All for sure.
So you go through your amateur career, you do really well. I don't know anything about your amateur career. So like,
give us the stats.
Like, were you one of the kids, like you're winning everything? You're like, I mean, as you got closer to being pro, I heard your name. I knew you were one of the kids. Obviously, you had the SSN deal tied. You were going to come up with them. But prior to that, were you always like some kids come up and they're just win everything, or were you kind of the kid that?
No, I was. Yeah, no, I wasn't like a James Stewart or a Ricky Carmichael. That was just smoking these fools. My first year, I went to amateur nationals on a PW. I won both titles. Like, I mean, when I watch those videos, it's like, dude, you're just in La La Land out there. Like, I won like one race, and you know how it is when you're a kid.
Yeah.
But then the next year I went, I don't remember this, but like my dad was like, you were like so out of it that like we left like midweek. And then, dude, from like 50s all the way to my first year on 85s, I didn't win one race in amateur nationals. Like, and I didn't win like at all. Like, I mean, I was terrible.
Okay.
65s was really bad for me. And then, but like we were racing a lot, and that was the thing. My dad was patient. Like, he was never like, come on, dude. Like, my dad was never like, what are you doing out there? It was always like, my dad was hard, but he always told me how to fix it. And he tells a story one night in Galesburg, I got like a fourth, but it was a good ride. But like, you kind of have to be in the industry to know like what, like if you're a fan, you're like, you got fourth, that's not that good. But my dad was thinking like, man, that was a good ride. And Woody Kyle, who's a really big figure in my dad's life, was like a mentor of his. It's like, hey, man, good job. I seen a lot of good stuff that race. My dad's like, yeah, me too. And so we just built on that. Like, I had a track in my backyard that I rode pit bikes on. Like, I didn't grow up with a short track in my backyard. I grew up with a TT track and like on pit bikes. And dude, my dad just be out there wearing me out. Like, I mean, no, riding.
Oh,
he
really?
Rode. Yeah. I mean, like, we're going at it. Like, I couldn't beat my dad till I was probably 11 years old. Like, my dad went, I mean, he still goes good, dude. Like, I tell, like, Maxwell, we put on a pit bike race.
Oh, I've seen it.
We can get into that, but, dude, he goes pretty good. So, and I remember like, my dad always at first, he was just faster than me. And so we'd be out there working on stuff, and we'd just ride, stop, he'd tell me. Well, then when I got to the point where I was, getting closer, then we bring some other people out to ride. Like, there was a guy that mechanic for me. His name's Joe. We call him Josie. His name's John Porman. He would come ride. Then my dad would bring all his buddies out, like 5 or 6 of them, and we'd line up a race, and I'm in the back. Got to come through to the front. And, like, that's where I kind of credit a lot of it, too, because our track was, like, this wide. Like, no wider than this bench.
So you just always had to be prepping.
Yeah, dude, you're wanting to pass a guy, like, you're not, and I had a stock 100. Like, he let me put a downpipe on it, I think, at one point. And so, and it was moto. It wasn't flat track. I never wore a steel shoe out there. So I always knew how to use the front brake. I always knew, like, how to go right. I was always, like, so I was kind of like I learned on a TT track, not just a short track.
Yeah.
So, and then my dad, like, when I got fast enough, then he could just outrace me. He could just outsmart me. And I remember one day, I'm like, dude, it's just like, I just cannot beat this guy. And like, I was sick of it because my dad would just rub it in, he's like, dude. And I remember one time we're sitting there and he's like, and he always had a good one, he had a good 150. And he'd be like, son, one day you're going to be able to beat me. I remember him saying this, one day you're going to be able to beat me and I'm never going to be able to beat you again. But today's not that day. And he rode off, and I'm like, whatever. And dude, I remember the day I beat him, like, for the first time, he was demoralized, and never really been the same since. But no, dude, like, we just rode. Like, we rode all the, like, dude, there's old videos of me on a 50. He's got my sister on the front on a 110. We're just putting in heaters, like, just lap after. And my mom's out there filming. Like, it was just what we did.
I feel like that's pretty consistent though with a lot of the top riders. Like, I know I did too. Like, that's one of where I made my big jump in dirt track was we rode 100s. And I remember me and Wellesley, we rode literally every day. We would do these 100 lap or 50 lap fucking Ironman races.
Dude, there's nothing better than riding pit bikes with the boys.
Dude,
I love it.
Yeah, and that's where we really made like big jumps from like the amateur side but even talking with Cody earlier, he just ride when he made his step, and it seems so consistent with a lot of the people on. You can't beat the early days laps.
No, there's so much being learned out there you don't even understand. And there's a movie on Amazon. It's called In Search of Greatness. So they interview like some of the greatest athletes, just like Wayne Gretzky, Jerry Rice, and then they throw in some other stuff in there, and they explain why are the greats better than anybody else that plays hockey, like Wayne Gretzky. And he's like, I would just, I would go outside and shoot pucks in the driveway while my friends were going to the movies. And they'd be like, well, go to the movies. It's like, I don't want to. Like, I didn't ride because my dad made me. I rode because I wanted to.
Yep.
Now, there may have been days I didn't want to ride because I was by myself. Like, I rode a lot by myself. Or, Dad, ride with me. And now I got stuff going on or whatever. So I think the difference in those guys is, like, you just want to do it. Like, you want to be out there putting in those heaters. And you're so right. Those young years is when you learn so much of that stuff that just comes as second nature later in your life. Like, I mean, then there's so much, like, not to get on a pit bike thing, but there's so much to be learned on pit bikes. I mean, dude, I spent the majority of my younger years on pit bikes.
Same.
Like I said, I never practiced a flat track ever.
I feel like
if I
had
rode a flat track, I was racing.
Yeah, I feel like I had 1 billion hours on my 100.
Oh, dude, I would love to know how many laps I have around that place. And dude, there was a time when I got on 250s that it was overgrown and we didn't ride much. But yeah, dude, I mean, just wearing it out, just loving it, really.
I think this is a good time to talk about packs. All right, let's just talk about packs. All right, so a lot of us during the off season, we go to PAX track. We got to give it a shout out, dude. It's like Dirt
CJ's
Trackers.
a great dude.
He's a great dude. He always preps it for the boys. Like,
It's a motocross track for
Yeah.
those that don't know.
yeah, it's the
Chocolate
thing where
cake, bro.
it's just chocolate cake.
When
It's,
you roll in that first practice, it's like, oh man, it's
Dude.
just like a beautiful beach out there.
dude, it is when I say primo, the first whoever gets out there first and cuts the
Oh, dude,
first
I was
lap.
out there first today. It was nice.
It
But then
is-
it gets real gnarly.
It gets
Yeah,
super
that's what I
rough.
hear.
And like he knows the dirt trackers get there for literally, dude.
Gates opening.
Gates open. The guy's out there, and we're like, yeah, like chopping the guys.
I'm like
we get our-
roosting the flagger.
Yeah, I'm the way. But he knows. And we always say that he's shot at the title, right? And everybody works for this. Everyone lives for it. Maybe not you, but at some point, everybody's at some point pacing off somebody.
Yeah, it's like when when you come in, how bad you were leaving a guy or you were getting dropped. And there's kind of that weird like eye contact of like, dude, I was slow or I was fast or yeah. Dude, there's nothing better than the boys at the moto track. Like JD and I talk about all the time because I had a guy ask me, he's like, man, I remember that feeling when I first rode a motorcycle or like I slid. Like I remember at Super Camp, this guy's like, man, I remember the first time I slid a motorcycle, that feeling. He's like, do you guys ever get that feeling still, like, at your level? And we looked at each other. I'm like, about every time we ride. Like, dude, there's one time at PAX, we had this gnarly rut going through this berm. And I'm like, JD, did you see that? He's like, dude, you had your leg up. And I'm like, I look like Carmichael. I was landing off that jump sitting down. He's like, man, we were going so good. Like, we go all right. But it's just like that camaraderie. Like, every time we come in, dude, you see that bump? Hey, try this line. Hey, don't scrub that. Go over this. Like, it's just... Oh, dude, I live for it. Like, riding's not even training to me. Like, I just love riding.
It's actually so funny because PAX, I mean, we have a lot of different levels, right? I would say probably you and Briar and Cody are probably the best guys that we have in dirt track at the moment. I mean,
Yeah,
I would
for
probably
sure.
say in moto. I don't know anybody else really, but at PAX specifically. And then you've got like the other boys, like JD's gotten so good over the last 3 years.
Yeah.
B-Rob's gotten good. I've gotten better, but it's like almost the same conversation, just at different levels, right? Everybody has the same fucking conversation. Like, dude, I finally, there's full ruts going up. I was telling, I called Briar the other day. I'm like, dude, there's full ruts up the step up. Dude, I hit it every fucking lap. He's like, dude, no way. That's so fucking sick.
It's gotta be like when you walk through the paddock and it's like the guys in the amateur class like
yeah.
talking about.
Oh my God.
Dude, if
like,
they came
pushing
over
the
and listened
front.
to what we're doing, you think we're prepping to run an outdoor national there.
Dude, it's so
Or
bad.
you're behind a guy when he rails. You're like, dude, I seen that. And you're like, you seen the sand? It was that eye. It's like, oh, dude, it's great.
The other day I was calling, I'm like, we were at, me and Cody went to Johnny's place, and dude, sand is like, it's kryptonite for Rispoli. Like, I am so fucking bad in the sand. And I saw, what's his name, Renshaw's taking videos. And I'm like, man, I don't feel like I'm doing that bad. And then Cody goes by me. And I'm like, man, those are the other guys. He comes by again. I'm like, God damn, like, who the fuck is this?
And it's good, too, when you got, like, a bunch of like-minded people, like dirt trackers or just all guys that are, you know, we're kind of going for the, like, road race, flat track, like, we're all buddies. So, like, dude, I remember last year when Tom came over, him and Hunter Bauer would find each other every time on the track. And I mean, go at it.
Dude,
like,
shot of the...
I'm talking like we would all stop and be like, Tom, come on. And everybody like, come on, Bauer. And they'd come in just sand on the face, out of tear-offs. And he's like, hey, good ride, Tom. And I'm like, dude, like every time. I'm like, Tom, you find Bauer every time? He's like, I think he's waiting for me, dude. I'm like, dude, he's like, I got to do that jump. And I'm like, oh my God, you know, you got to bring yourself down a little bit. But dude, it's just so, it's so funny.
To be honest, I live for it. Like, we're 42 days away from Daytona, and I'm so bummed already. Not because of the race season, but because the off season.
Everyone leaves.
Dude, the off season goes so fucking quick, dude. And like, it's truly the only place where obviously, like, you know, JD does his thing, you do your thing, but like, we truly get to just like kind of step away from like all the pressure of going to the track for one goal.
Well, and we all have the same interest and we love riding dirt bikes.
Dude.
So we go somewhere where like, yeah, we're putting in our work, but then like at the end of the day, JD and I will link up and we'll ride a session and we'll like go over the jumps and like look at each other. And
Dude,
like, that was sick. I'm like, dude, you're throwing that whip. He's like, dude, I tried to throw it so you could see it. And I'm like, God,
it's my favorite thing because like I never ever go like I'm like probably the slowest guy there, but I don't ever really step out of bounds. But always there's once in a while one of these dudes will kind of come up on me on one lap and I'll just fucking wick it for a couple of corners and I'll totally be out of scale, but I'll be like 2-3 corners where I'll be in front of him and I'm fucking left to right just throwing roost like
Just cross jumping.
dude, just a chicane, dude. And everyone's like,
he kind of does. He's like a.
Everyone's like, damn, dude, like, what did I was like, I wanted to race you a little bit.
Yeah, that's all, I love it, dude. It pisses me off more when a guy just lets me by. I'm like, dude, look back, see it's me. Get going, like, let's go, let's race.
It's so good.
Yeah, it's fun. I love it.
No, it's cool. I was saying to James, it's like that's one of the things that, especially up in New York, because there's not even anybody else that rides around us. But right now, it's like, you know, like where you're at in Illinois, it's the same weather back home right now. It's you know, 14 degrees. We're about to get a foot of snow on Saturday or Sunday or something. So there's not much fun going on with the boys, which I'm lucky we get to go to Chuckwalla, but it's still, that's like, it's work out there and then we're racing, you know what I mean?
It's tough as well. Like, you got to teach, like, and teaching is a skill in its own thing, but it almost, like, I've really struggled sometimes when, like, you don't, because you obviously have gone super fast there a lot, but when you go through like 3 or 4 days of teaching and then you're like, let's turn it on. And I'm like, man, I'm ripping at like 48s. What do you mean 48s? Like, I'm fucking ripping. I'm at all my markers. But like, it's just really difficult. Like, it's almost like your mind slows down to like a different speed of teaching. I think that's like some of the hardest thing to do is to like hit it after teaching for so long.
Playing it like wears you out, but it's like a different type of wear out. Like
mentally.
Like when you're done riding, like you're cooked. But like when you're done teaching, dude, it's like I don't want to do any. Like I'm like not that like it's great. Like I love teaching when I do this stuff, and I'm sure you guys do too. But it's like you don't want to teach and then like go do your work. Like you're just like, dude, I'm done. Like I'm fried.
Yeah.
No, it's true. It's hard to go. Really even want to ride after like I just did 10 days in a row. At the track.
That's
it was
gnarly.
like 8 days of coaching and then
It's hard because like in road racing, nothing really changes. So you're like just same mark. And if if you're not working on something or if you're not doing something like suspension or what, you're just like.
See, so that's where it's a little bit easier when I go to super camp and help. Like you're on pit bikes, so like you ride with people for a minute, and then like you get after it for a few corners. You know, like road racing, you're just riding. You know, especially if they're just learning, like it's pretty slow. Like it's slow paced.
Yeah, it's tough.
So. It is fun though. It's fun to see people get better. But
I love
makes
it.
for long
Absolutely.
weeks.
I love the light bulbs.
Yeah.
Like when you get somebody and like that has like been in a fucking wall. Like I think that's one of my specialties is taking somebody that's like had a good coach or like good base. And they're like, hey, I'm just at this wall and just kind of, pulling a few levers, right? That's what I really
just
like
giving them
doing.
a different way of thinking.
Yeah.
Change
It
their
is super
perspective,
cool though, because like once you go through those basics, you only go through them once. Like us learning them, you only get the light bulb once. So like you get to live through them, and like they don't understand it because they're like, how is this cool for you? You make a living racing, but it's like, no, it's awesome to see you guys like. Like watch a guy slide a bike for the first time or drag their knee or whatever it is. Like, it's cool to like. I've had guys almost like get emotional, like be sliding and be like, "Dude, that was awesome." Like, whoa, like, dude, come on, chill out.
Yeah. We had a guy last week. He like at Chuckwalla, if you're under or over a certain pace, you got to wear a vest. Mm-hmm. So like you're the only dudes out there wearing a bright yellow vest until you get below 215 or 210, I think it is, or something. And one of our guys, he finally broke it, so they come over and like the guys from the track like are like, "Hey, we got to talk to you." You know, it's kind of like their spiel, and then they're like, "We're here to get your vest. Like you did it, dude. Like you finally got
that." Is so
and
sick.
the dude had to like sit down. He was so stoked because he's like, "I never thought this was gonna happen." You know? But he was so excited.
I think it goes back to your no time thing. Like we obviously come, we learned a lot from JP, and we teach heavily off of JP's curriculum. That's obviously we've changed things a little bit, with our own flavor. But going back to your non-lap time, like it's the number one thing. We always get racers that are like just chomping, like I gotta go. And I'm like, dude, we need to go like 2 or 3 seconds slower so you can fucking understand some of this, because you're just chomping and chomping. And I think that's a good thing that you said about don't chase the stopwatch is quite big when we're talking about the teaching thing. And I don't think people really understand that, in a way. And it took me a long time to like ride at 70% and to be okay with riding slow to go fast.
Well, like when you're young, you cannot learn riding balls out. Like you're literally just trying to hang on.
I still am.
Yeah, right. And it's tough to learn that skill of how can I go as fast as I can and like be able to, know what's going on.
Yeah.
And so it's just it's tough. But yeah, no, dude, I see it so much with kids. They're just like, what's my lap time or what's this? And I'm like, dude, your elbow's down and you're staring at the ground. Like he's like, and then like trying to get them to slow down. They don't understand it. That's one thing my brother, like, he's really good at. Like, he will listen. And I'm always like, dude, hey, I don't care what you get. Just don't give up, and just whatever we're telling you to work on, just try to accomplish that. Just start checking your boxes. Hey, man, arms down. Need to work. We're not going to the next thing until that thing's right. Yeah. Whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I mean, you're never gonna be perfect. Like to this day, I'm still working on stuff. So
yeah, I was gonna ask that. What are some of the things that, like, as you transitioned from your amateur career into going pro, and assuming the level obviously is a step up from there, like what were some of the bigger challenges transitioning into that period?
That's a good question. I think for me, I always had like natural, I don't want to say skill, but like my style was always fairly good. Like I kind of knew where to sit on the bike. Like I had some issues like looking down at the ground and some other stuff, but for me going pro was just the intensity. Like what it took, like I said, I was kind of a slow starter. Like I never really got good starts. I was always coming for the back. So for that reason, I had better racecraft than most at my age, I guess is the best way to put it. But dude, like I remember when I got in the twins class, like the intensity, and my dad warned me. He's like, dude, when you go expert racing, like those guys don't play. Like when the green light drops, you're holding the gun to your chin until time's up. And I remember my very first Grand National, I qualified like 4th or something, and I won my heat race. I'm sitting on the pole, and I'm like, this ain't much different than the 450 class. Well, I'm thinking. And dude, we take off the start, and I'm like, somebody slams into me. Dude comes around the outside, takes my bar. I can't see. I come across the line. I'm in like 10th. And after that, I ended up getting 4th, I think. And after that race, I'm like, holy shit, like, this is a wake-up call. Like, I thought I was good. When I came into the singles class, I thought I was ready, which I was ready. But, like, I thought...
Was it Lima your first singles race? Or
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I was there.
Yeah. And it just was... The intensity is tough. And so, like... And that's tough, too, because, like we just talked, you don't really want to teach a kid intensity that young, I don't think. Like, there are some kids that are just born with it, like, they're just gnarly.
Yeah.
But, like... It's tough because you kind of need to slow down to learn that stuff. But that's like, okay, speed back up, because now you're getting ready to race guys that are...
And intensity is almost like, it's like, when you talk about intensity, kind of in the realm of anger, right? I mean, controlled anger.
Basically,
So
yeah.
when you're teaching a kid anger, it's hard because I mean, I don't know how to say it, but you know what I mean? If you had to put words, right? It's not kind.
No, it's not.
Right.
Like the thoughts you're thinking, or you're just
Yeah.
like, come on, man.
Yeah,
Like and then like it's tough too because like we all go through it. I'm watching my brother go through it, or I watched him go through it, and I did it too. You kind of get figuring it out, and you're like, all right, here we go. Like I'm winning, and then you have a big one.
Yeah.
You know, like me, it was when I broke my wrist. For Beckham, he like kid crashed in front of him. He just center punched him, ran it. You know, then
Those
a
are the
kid, and then he
worst.
crashed, and a kid ran him over. But dude, like when there's always that, like, will you come back from the big one? Dude, I've seen kids not come back from the big one.
Yeah,
You know, like
no,
they have the
same,
big
plenty.
one and they're like, wait, what? Like my sister raced. And dude, she wadded up at Neoga at this TT and she was like, wait, you can get hurt doing this? No thanks. Never rode again. So it's like I've seen kids not come back from that big one, but it is a fight. Like it's tough to be okay with what could happen. You know, like it's kind of what we're dealing with my brother, right? Like you can tell he's riding scared and they're like trying to explain to him like, dude, if you ride scared, you're gonna get in trouble.
Yeah.
But you need to accept that this can happen.
Yep.
If you can't accept that, then you need to quit. And I remember getting that talk and being like, man, that's kind of a tough pill to swallow for a kid. They don't like being, I don't like being hurt as an adult. I mean, nobody does. So yeah, man, it's, I think the intensity, to answer your question, was the biggest learning curve for me in both classes.
So let's like roll back here, all right? So you just come through amateurs, you get that. Was Tim your only option when you get the call, like to kind of move up? And
so when I was amateur racing, I was doing. So I see this number plate up here, the Red Bull Supermoto stuff. My dad was a part of that, like one of the pioneers of Supermoto, like Mickey Diamond, Jeff Ward,
that's
Jeremy
crazy.
McGrath.
I think you
He's
raced
like-
with Richie because you know Richie from back then.
Oh
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. And then
Okay,
he
cool.
said he's like, Mom, my highlights was we were doing this because Dad was like, and I'm not saying he's lying, like he's for sure telling the truth, but like
check the receipts again,
get
dude.
those receipts, big dog.
This guy, dude.
But before
We're gonna have
they-
to bring Nick on here because you're just throwing some smoke.
No, I'm not. I'm just joking. But so
He's scared
because
now.
he would be like, before the guys got their factory stuff, like they were good. Like my dad and the guy he traveled with, Matt Pursley, like they were gnarly. Like they were winning some of the local Supermoto stuff. And then, when Red Bull come in and gave some money, the story goes, I obviously wasn't around, but factory come in and they got all good stuff. And then they were just off the pace. But Dad, one of the highlights, and we were doing a Supermoto, McGrath waved me by. I'm like, he waved you by? He's like, yeah, dude, I was just hounding him in this practice. I'm like, hey, right on, man, that's awesome. And like he hung out with Jeremy and he does have a lot of good stories. And I'm just messing with him. Like I know my dad was the guy. I watched it firsthand.
Yeah,
But I just like to give him shit. So
that's cool. The king.
anyways, to rewind, I was doing a little bit of Supermoto because Supermoto, it didn't make a comeback, but there was a guy that was doing it. His name was actually Matt Stewart. He's actually married to Dean Wilson's sister, and he was putting on a Supermoto series. So I was doing this Supermoto, dude. I remember traveling out to Bakersfield, California in a van with no AC and no cruise control. Make it all the way back home to go to school, and the van breaks down, dropping me off at school. But anyways, that's just a little side piece. But so I was doing a little bit of that, and then I was racing some dirt track stuff. And Andrea Wilson, if you know that name,
yeah.
she had noticed me because Savannah, which is not around, Oglethorpe Speedway,
Dude,
Savannah was
one
the
of the
big one.
sickest.
I'm trying to explain it to my brother, like, dude, you have no idea how cool this track was.
The best.
But so they always used to start at Bike Week, and they would have a race in October. So she saw me at the race in October and was like, he's going pretty good. I was on a Yamaha 250. Well, then she seen us out in Bakersfield next year, and she's like, you guys race Supermoto too? So she kind of took a liking to us and was like taking some pictures and just would always come chat. So anyways, fast forward, I go out to Waco, Texas to do a dirt track, and Jerry Stinsfield rolls in. And I'm out in a heat race, and I'm just a kid on a 60 night plain. My bikes were plain white. And Jerry's like, who do you think's going to win this heat race? And I think it was Jesse Janish's girlfriend, Red. She was like, oh, that Dallas kid's pretty good. And he's like, I think Kevin's got it. And I ended up winning. And he rolls over.
Kevin Stallings?
Yeah, Kevin Stallings. That's when he was sponsoring him, which I raced with Kevin, or not raced with him. I was always like a class below him my whole amateur career.
Okay.
And he comes over and he's like, hey, dude, great job today. I'd like to help you. So, like, call my dad, gave us a little bit of money. And, like, dude, money went a long way. Like stuff was tight when I was young because we were like, dude, I remember one time my parents to go to the road race amateur nationals, they sat down at the table and like they sat me down early. It was never like, you have to do this because we're spending all of our money. But it did get to a point where they're like, hey, let us just show you what goes into this. Just so you know, if you decide to pull the plug, like what we're doing for you. They had all the money to pay all their bills for the month. Like everything can be paid off. Or we can go to Barber. Yep, let's go to Barber. And went to Barber and did the amateur nationals and they were behind. And so Jerry helped a lot. And the vague plan was to go with Jerry. Well, Tim was looking to revamp his team. He had done the deal with Gautier and Sammy, and then it was like a half a season with Colby when Gautier had his deal. And then it was Colby and Jake, and he was like going to make a big entrance. Indian was back, and Tim, that was the year Tim had 5 riders. So he was going to interview 3 guys, and Andrea and Charlie Roberts called and were like, hey, you need to interview this Dallas kid. And so he flew my dad and I out there, and that's when I had broken both my wrists. So I've got a cast on one arm, and I've got a brace on this arm, and I get off the plane, and he tells the story. He's like, what have I got into? Oh, no. And I was the first guy he was going to interview. I don't know who the other 2 were. And we just sat down, and we just visited for 2 or 3 days. We had dinner with his family. He let us stay in his house, and we just talked. Like, really not a lot about racing. And when it was done, he canceled his interviews, and he's like, this just feels right. And
oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
That's how it was.
I didn't sign there, but I signed quick. And my first contract was like, and then so we were like, he's like, well, what about Nick? Like, Nick obviously has a lot of experience. And I'm like, dude, we'll be silly not to use him. Well, if he wanted me to live in Arizona, 15, I kind of got to have a parent with me. You know, you can't really go out there by yourself. I mean, I could. So it was like a win-win. Like, he hired my dad to build the 450 program, and he hired me. And I think the first contract I signed was like $12,000. Like, and so I was just like, oh man, cool. Like, I didn't care. And my dad was not making a lot either because Tim didn't know who we were. So he's like, not gonna, and dude, he's revamping this team, right? He's hiring all these full-time guys.
So this is pre-Tommy,
this is before Tommy got there.
This is pre-everybody.
This is pre-everybody.
Yeah.
So before Tommy gets there, Tim's putting his stuff together, and he's hesitant because he's a smart businessman. So he's like, I don't want to, sign these guys for too much. And we're out in Arizona. My parents barely making ends meet because my dad wasn't making much. And she's like, you can't, like, I didn't know this at the time. My parents were good about hiding this stuff from me. But like, I'm riding, training, he's building bikes. She's like, you can't do this. We cannot make the payments like on the house and for everything. He's like, my dad's super chill. He's like, hey man, just chill, be patient, trust it, it's gonna come. My dad's in at 6 a.m. He's there till midnight, just working around the clock. Well, Tim has a lady, her name's Michelle. She's a complete sweetheart. She's worked for him in his trucking company, and she still handles all the finances for the team. Well, she's looking at the security footage, and she's like, hey, this Nick guy is here sun up to sundown. You're not paying him enough. Next day, I'm out riding, and my dad had just kind of told me like, hey, it's getting a little tough. Like, I just want you to know in case something changes. He pulls him into his office. My dad calls me basically crying. He's like, dude, Tim just raised my pay. Like, we're good. We can make this happen. It paid off, man. And I was like, I remember being like, man, I'm proud of you. Like, you stuck with it. You worked with it. And then my mom wasn't like, she was like, oh, thank God. But she was like, man, you're right. Like, it did pay off. Like, and he wasn't doing it to get more money. That's just who he is.
Yeah.
He's just in there grinding, man, just like making it happen. And so anyways, long story short, we worked together. Shoot. I mean, he stayed on the 450s when I went to Twins. He's not working with the team anymore, but kind of a fairy tale, right? Like, where do you hear of a father and a son getting paid by the same guy? Yeah. We traveled to the races together, and we're more, I can't tell you how many guys told me, that's never going to work.
Yeah.
You can't work with your dad.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, it's not like that. Like, for whatever reason, my dad and I, when we go to the track, it goes from father, son to we're business partners, so to speak. Like, we're teammates. He's helping me accomplish this goal. Like, my dad could always turn off, we always call it, my dad would say, you can't look at it through your dad eyes. Turn your dad eyes off. My dad could watch me and turn his dad eyes off and be my biggest critic. And so we just have that unique relationship.
That's tough, especially as a kid. I mean, to be a teenager and to be able to listen and for you to turn off your, like, the whatever you want to call it, eyes to your dad. I mean, it's like always the same thing. Like, how you listening to the same thing from your dad or like JP was always different for me. I'm always like, my dad would say, I'm like, and JP would say, I'm like,
I hear that.
You got it.
I hear that a lot.
It's really tough.
But my dad, that's why I say, like, going back, my dad knew how to coach me. He knew what to tell me. And like I said, everything with my dad was a lesson. And my dad was like, dude, I know what it takes. I can get us to this level, but you got to buy in. I cannot tell you how many times kids are like, we want help. And then, or whatever, we try to help somebody and they don't want to listen. He's like, dude, you got to buy into the whole program.
Yeah.
It's everything. It's how you make your bed. It's how you eat your food. I mean, everything if you want to be a champion. So
it's the little things.
I just believe, like, for whatever reason, I just believed in it. And like my dad, like I'll ask my dad sometimes, like, because how many dads come up to you and they're like, hey, can you tell my kid this? He won't listen to me. I'm like, there's your first problem. If he won't listen to you, why should I make him go listen to me? And I'm like, I guess that doesn't really make sense when I say it, because I'm like, shoot, yeah, he would listen to me more than you. But I'm like, I never went through that. Like, I trusted my dad. For whatever reason, I just bought in. You know, I was like, even if this dude was crazy, you know, he didn't know anything about racing. I didn't care. That was my guy. I'm like, and it wasn't even really that he was my dad. Like, because my dad would give me advice about wrestling or stuff. And I'd be like, dude, shut up. Like, for whatever reason, just with racing, I was like, yeah, dude, I'm in.
Yeah.
You tell me to put my underwear on backwards, I'll put them on backwards. Like, I don't care. So I don't know. It just was one of those things.
Was it tough when you guys kind of had to split when you went to Twins to not have them kind of on your team?
You know, I think we were still kind of on the same team, but I think it was tough for him because he had to, like, nobody blames a father for his son being his, you know, center of attention, so to speak, at the races. But dude, I'm like, I remember, you know, times having to tell him, like, hey man, you got to focus on your guy. Like, that's your guy. So I think that he was still a great crew chief, great rider coach to his riders, and they can attest to that. But still, like, he was focusing on me a little bit, maybe times more than he should have. And I think that's the unfortunate part of why my dad probably, I don't want to say probably can never, but make a name for himself as a crew chief as long as I'm racing, just because he has a hard time separating it. And nobody blames him.
No.
You know, I mean, I can't imagine. Like, he's he's had some job offers and he's like, I can't compete against you. I can't do it. You know, oh, it sounds good. That money sounds good. Then, man, what if Dallas wins and I can't celebrate? Or how would it feel if I beat him? Like, he doesn't want to do that. And dude, the selfish part of me, I want to keep him for myself because I think he's an asset.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, I'll make it where you stay with me because I don't want to see you work for somebody else. I think you got a lot to offer. So, yeah, it's definitely a balancing act for sure. It's tough sometimes.
Yeah. So he's not with Essenson anymore?
Not this year, no. He's working on a couple things. He's actually just got a few things confirmed on what he's doing that he's pretty pumped about. And it was tough, but at the end of the day, too, the shop's in Owensboro, Kentucky. He was spending a lot of time away from my mom. My grandma, his mom's not doing great. She's in a assisted living home. My brother, he's kind of getting to the point where he's like, hey, I want to be at home more. And too, like, he's like, hey, I don't need to be with you all the time. You need to do some of this on your own.
Yeah.
And so he's still going to be there, but just be a little different. So just another learning experience.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I think that's hard stage for people that invest so much to kind of let go. But it's
for sure. Yeah.
You know.
But and too, like, it's not even like, it is letting go, but for him, he's like, I just love it. Like, I love being and it's not even that we're like winning helps, but he just loves being at the races. He loves being in those conversations where there's 10 minutes before the main and what are we going to do for tire pressure? Are we going to put this gearing on? Like, he loves being in those decisions and the nerves and all that stuff. Like, he just loves racing, dude. Like, I mean, like, he seriously, like, loves it, like, tenfold. It's crazy.
And so you then kind of, you went through that rookie year and then you went on to win your first championship. And so, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's
So
correct,
then, So then, was that transition as you saw the SSN program kind of transition into the powerhouse? I mean, that it is, right? Like I mean, obviously they had good riders with Jake, Sammy. They had great riders, but it kind of made a little bit of a switch and you were kind of on the forefront of that. I mean, they were winning before. I know Wells was winning. I know there were, but it really wasn't dominant.
No,
Like there was
yeah.
definitely a switch in the team and program.
Yeah, and dude, that first year was crazy because he had 5 riders, 2
Yeah.
singles guys, Colby in production, and 2 twins guys, and
It
was
huge.
his, I want to say it was like January Tommy got hired, and dude, if we wouldn't have got Tommy, it would have been hectic. Like Tommy is seriously the glue to the whole operation. Like Tommy's my guy. I love Tommy so much. He's just so smart, and knows when to keep quiet and when to do his thing, and he keeps everybody in line, and he knows how to do it the proper way. Like he's basically like an even better version of his dad, like just because he went through a lot more of those experiences. So he's awesome. But so dude, we got Tommy late, and it was just hectic. Like we broke like 13 450 engines that year, like because we were running things that we had a little too much compression and some other stuff, and then finally started to figure it out towards the end. And there was a lot of miles that year, which was tough. And I was trying to do a road race thing, and that, ended up getting folded up because of dirt track stuff. And then the twin stuff, they were struggling so bad. Like I
Yeah,
remember they went to
it was
Atlanta,
bad.
and I don't even think they made a main event.
Yeah.
And so those first years, dude, the 450s were like I said, when I say we won out of my dad's shop, the bike stayed at my dad's shop. We only ever went to the shop in Owensboro if it needed something, like, and even if we needed machine work, my crew chief James had a shop in where he's from. We would just go there. And like we outsourced the dyno. I say we, my dad and James outsourced the dyno work, and they did all that,
So it's kind of 2 separate programs.
basically, because it didn't go, we didn't even go into the same truck until we went to 2 riders.
Because you were always in the like Renegade thing, right?
Yeah. So, and then my whole thing, so when I won my first championship, like my first year was good. Like I won a race at Peoria. We had good bikes. They weren't fast. I mean, dude, I think at Sacramento, Wells and I each had one that made like 61, and I blew mine up first practice. My backup bike made like 57. And that's the Red Bull.
That's crazy.
Mikey on the American
yeah.
Honda.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah. So
That's slow.
And dude, I was so slow. And because they were so focused on the twins program,
Yeah.
because that thing was, not good. And the only thing really keeping them alive was the TTs.
Yeah.
So go to 2020, there's no TTs. It's COVID. I don't think JD finished better than 8th. Like he struggled bad. And it was really tough to watch. But for us, we weren't even really involved in it just because, like I said, it was kind of 2 separate programs. So, even my first year, we didn't even pit out of the semi. We had our own tents.
Yeah.
So then in 20, it's 2 and 2. So Jake was done. 2 450 guys, 2 twins guys. Pit out of the truck. That was awesome. I'm like, I'm in a semi. Like it was pretty cool. So, and that was kind of my breakout year. Like I missed the first main event of the year. I literally did not set the final. And I'm coming into this thing like I want to win. I'm like, shoot, dude, I need to reevaluate my thoughts. And then I won the next night. And I'm like, okay, right on. Well, I think we got a shot here. Then we go to Indy Mile, and I barely squeak into the first main. And I'm like, here we are again. Like, am I just like, what is going on? And Mikey gets third. Like, I remember Mikey was up kind of in the points chase. Next night, I'm running real good. I fry a clutch. I'm like, son of a gun. Come back from the back, I end up 4th. I'm like, okay, seems like we kind of got it again. Then when we go to Springfield, Mikey crashes leading. I win the race. I'm the only guy now that's won 2 races. I'm like, okay, I'm kind of getting my stride. And then from that moment on, it was like we went out to Williams Grove. I remember that night you won. And I had, in the race, I was struggling. I was leading, and I got passed around the outside, and I like went right to it. And my dad I remember I got second, and my dad was so pumped. He's like, dude, you made a big step. And I'm like, I got second. And I remember Mikey won. And I like sat pole. He's like, no, dude, you made a step as a rider. Like you wouldn't have never changed when you were younger. You would have just stuck to what you did. You would end up 5th, and you moved and you made a change. And that's it, man. We're really gonna take off now. And I was like, all right. Here we go. I bought in. I'm like, all right, I feel that. Next night I won, and I won 6 races in a row. I wrapped the championship up 3 races early. And it was kind of like, shoot, I missed that first main event. I kind of looked like a squid. Like, man, what is Tim doing hiring this kid? And then, like, you know, my rookie year was great. Like, I had 3 podiums. I won Peoria. It was like my 6th race or something. So, anyways, to keep kind of going through, 21, we're back in the number 1 plate, and they're making some strides with the twin. Mm-hmm. But it's still tough.
Do you have your eyeball on that yet, or are you still young enough where you don't care?
Yeah, but I've got like the me, you know, me's is kind of in my ear, like, dude, you can't ride that thing, because everybody was real nervous because I saw it happen with Davis when they first brought out the XG. He signed with Factory Harley, and they made him ride the XG all year, and he struggled a lot. And I remember Me's like, and I give Me's a lot of crap because he's like Breyer's guy, but he was like kind of in my ear every once in a while, just like little tidbits, like, hey man, you can't ride that thing. One bad year will ruin you. I'm like, okay.
Sweet dude,
all right,
thanks.
dude, appreciate that. And then he'd be like, hey man, you know this, and he did help me out. Like I remember at Sacramento that year in 21, he like gave me some advice. And so anyways, as we're going through 21, I'm having a good year, and then I have a really bad race in Pennsylvania, and I'm battling with Whale, and we're not buddies. I knocked him down at a Volusia race, all-star race, before the season started, so he hates me.
Wait, in that time?
This is 21, yes.
Yeah, but you're buddies now.
Oh yeah, we're best friends now.
Okay.
I'll get into that.
No, all right.
But so like he came to my graduation party, and like we were like kind of friends, and I knocked him down, and he like hated me. So now we're like in this fierce battle. And I remember after Pennsylvania, I had a really bad. So at Pennsylvania too, they unload a new bike, which is what come to be the chassis we're racing now. And they're like, so I did the Atlanta thing, which I totally forgot about that. But the Atlanta thing I did on the production twin. Remember that when I won that race out there? We won all 3. Tim did. Do you remember that at Atlanta Super TT? We won production, singles, and Super Twins.
Yeah, Atlanta.
So I'm training out with Mikey Rush in California. My dad calls me. He's like, would you want to ride a production twin? I'm like, where? He's like, Super TT. I'm like, yeah, that'd be cool. Click. I'm like, what the hell? A few hours later, Tommy calls. Hey, you want to ride a production twin? So long story short, my dad had this idea. He's like, dude, we can win all 3 classes. And kind of time for me to start dipping my toes in the twin. So anyways, we go that route. We end up having a real successful night. It gets parked. I'm like, you did good, whatever. Well, then they're bringing out this new chassis, and they're kind of making strides on the twin. So they don't really want to throw them a new curveball. So they put me in. And I feel like that was some of the reason I struggled real bad. It was Port Royal that year. I got 2nd on the production twin, and I got like 9th on my 450. And dude, I'm like 18 points down. And I'm like, okay, park the twin. We cannot do that again.
Oh, because it was just too much.
I don't want to say it was too much, but we were just, my crew chief, James, and I, we were so excited to go twins racing.
Okay.
Like we knew before the year started, next year, win or lose this thing, that's where we're going.
Yeah.
We didn't act like that because we were like, we kind of did think like, okay, maybe we could go the production twins route. I almost raced production twins in 21. Like kind of talked about it, and I'm like, no, I really want to try to do, because nobody had won back-to-back 450 titles. I'm like, I'd really like to do that. And so we're like, shoot, we can't do that. Like that, we just focused way too much on the twin. And I was kind of battling some mental stuff. Like that's when I started learning a lot about the mental side of racing. And my dad being so old school when I struggled, he's like, we need to go racing. And dude, we went out to Kansas and we did like so many outlaw races. And he's like, you just need to get back in the groove. And my dad was always big on the mental side of racing. And dude,
what was the negative? Like, what do you mean when you were battling mental stuff? What
like I just was letting stuff bother me. That
like mind games?
Yeah,
or
like I remember like just letting little things bother me that I shouldn't even allow to have place in my head. Just say I struggled in one session, just ruined my day. Like just kind of learning that type of thing. And then I think it was a lot for me to try to like, because I'm battling for points and I'm trying to navigate that because the first year wasn't easy, but I kind of ran away with it. So here I am, I'm in a championship battle, like kind of trying to navigate that. Then I'm like also trying to think about my future because this thing's kind of my future. Oh shoot, I need to like compartmentalize my goals and like, dude, this thing needs to be put off. So I just kind of had to get back to why I was doing it.
Yeah.
So then I go to New York and I win the next race. I'm like, all right, Max has a bad night. I get third back in the points lead. Hell yeah. Then I go to Peoria and wad my brains completely.
Is this where your bike was in the pond and stuff?
Yeah. So then the Peoria was tough because they pinned me.
Oh, no. This is the front straightaway
one.
Well, yeah, but I crashed on the jump too.
Yeah, okay. So same weekend?
Same race, like 2 laps apart.
Because I remember the...
Oh, dude.
And then
yeah.
Because your hand was
Oh, yeah, it was terrible, dude. So the Peoria one was tough because they were pinning Henry and I up against each other. They're like, young kid versus the old dog. And I'm like, it's not even the premier class, but whatever. So
dude,
I rip a start. And all day we're like, hey, just need to be in front of the 18. Just need to be in front of the 18. Yeah. Don't go balls out to beat Henry. Well, I rip a whole shot and I'm like,
I'm going.
King Henry who, baby? And dude, I'm like, just like the first lap, my dad's out on the front straight with his hat off, just like, come on. And I'm like, because I'd won in 19, 2020, we don't race. 2021, we're back. So I'm the last winner. And we were like kind of neck and neck all day. Second lap I remember I went over the jump on the first lap. I'm like, that was good. Second lap, I come over and the ass ends out just a little bit more. I'm like, kind of like I'm taking these dudes to school, baby. And I land off that thing and it just goes, yeah. And I'm like, oh, and I'm in the grass and I'm like, no. And I don't know what to do. So it had rained, remember?
Yeah.
And just fold it. And instead of, doing the classic dirt track play possum, I'm so in la la land because like here I am, dude. I'm just throwing it away again. Not that I threw it away in Port Royal, but I just dug myself out of a hole. Now I'm going into another one. So I get back up and I start going again. And I'm so mad at this point. I'm doing lap times that would put me with Henry. Well, Kitchen, tank slaps after the jump, goes into the creek.
Yep.
Red flag.
Yeah.
I'm sitting in the hot box, like I'm basically crying. I'm like, dude, this is so dumb. And Tommy's like, hey, you need to circulate because this is like halfway through the race.
Yeah.
Tommy's like, you need to keep circulating because if people break or crash, you can get more points. I'm like, can I just be done? For the first time in my life, I wanted to quit. I'm like, I don't want to be out here. I'm a lap down. I got lapped. I'm just like, what's the point? And Tommy's like, you have to circulate. I'm like, whatever. JD comes out, gives me a new shield. They're like, all right, fire him up. My dad's like, give her hell. And I'm like, yeah, all right. And I'm like, so then it was off the start. And I'm like, dude, it was gnarly. So that's a whole nother story. Like, lay down in the van, go back to the hospital. Season's probably over, I feel like. Ended up breaking my 5th metatarsal in my foot. And when I crashed, I couldn't see anything. And I'm like,
really?
Dude, it's just blurry.
Really?
And I'm like, yeah, this ain't good. And dude, it was just bad. Like I remember, like there were so many crashes because of the track. And I remember I'm sitting in the ambulance and they're like, it's kind of funny. Air conditioning's on, nice girl. She's like, you can stay here as long as you like. I'm like, thank you. Lay back, doors, get out. We got another one. Bruner wad himself up on the jump. And then that's when Mishler and Henry, it's like almost dark. They're like, dude, we're done. We're not doing this. They just called it. And I remember I'm getting out of the ambulance. There's an old guy carrying a cooler, trips and face plants. And my dad just starts crying. And I remember just being like, I hate this place. And it sucked because I love that place so much. Like when I come down the hill as a kid, I just loved it. And I win my first race there. I'm like, this is just fairy tale. And then I'm like, I hate this place. And I love it now. But like then even I went, I got a podium on a twin. Then crashed and hit that freaking rock. And so anyways, long story short, we get to the end of the year, we win the title, and
it was touch and go in the last round, wasn't it?
Well, I had like a big point lead because Max had struggled at Sacramento, but going to Sacramento it was tight. But when we went into Springfield, I'm back down like 18 points or something crazy, and I ended up winning both, and that was a controversial night with the Bruner thing.
Yeah. I was going to ask you about
if
that.
you want to get into that.
I kind of do.
Yeah.
I want to know what you think about the call, like truthfully. Like, do you think that call should have been stand? Like, I mean, with handlebar on the ground kind of deal. Like,
how do you?
I mean, explain it for Corey.
Okay, so Springfield short track, I come in a bunch of points down. I'm having a good night. I'm coming from the back. I pass Bruner with like 2 laps to go. Well, going into 3, going to the checkered, he just goes straight and completely T-bones me. Like, hit me so hard it broke the bar clamp in half. And I'm like, fucking, here we go again. Like, God dang, man. And Max was kind of having a rough night. Well, so what they did is when I hit the ground, the red was on like immediately.
So nobody crossed the line.
Nobody
right?
crossed the line.
Yeah.
And they called the race, but they went back to 1 lap before, so I won.
But he technically
It's
crashed.
like the barber thing.
And
Yeah.
everybody thinks that Tim, there's always this thing. Tim buys rules, blah, blah.
No, because I know Mike Turner. I was standing there when Mike Turner was like, oh, yeah. Like, he was like very, very
And all Tim did
submissive.
is he went up to AFT and he's like, hey, we just want to know if that's okay. If you don't make a penalty, we just want to know so we can tell Dallas to ride accordingly. Like if you're going to make that okay, because dude, it was like,
You got to draw the line in the sand.
yeah, like there's short track racing and then there's takeouts, like in my opinion. And so how do you reward a guy with a win that ended the race on the ground? I think what they should have done is re-rack him for a green-white checkered and put him in the back and put me up front. Do I agree with the call?
Okay.
I don't. Of course I do, because I was on the good side. But
Yeah, but I mean, you're a level-headed person. Like, you got to look at it from both sides.
yeah, I don't know. I don't think it was necessarily complete. I mean, it's never happened again.
Yeah, of course.
But have we ever had a situation like that again? Like even the Breyer and I thing at Sturgis, we were like halfway through the race.
Yeah.
To this day, I don't think I've ever seen anybody throw a slider going to the checkered since then and before then.
Yeah.
So in that situation, I don't know. I think but how do you reward a guy a win with?
I thought it was an interesting call. I personally, I don't think it's the right call.
Yeah.
I don't
No,
think you
I
can
don't think
reward
so, yeah.
anybody a win with their handlebar on the ground who crashed, regardless, because, okay, if you didn't,
Yeah, I
all right,
agree.
if you got bumped off and you were, red flag comes out, okay, you didn't
Yeah.
hit the ground, they reverse it, but he's on the ground. Like, I mean, I don't know. I think it's a tough one, and I'm not the guy to make
It
the
was
call,
real
but-
tough too, because then that's all I heard. Oh, if you wouldn't have got that lucky win, you wouldn't have won the title. And I'm like, dude, you don't know how I would have rode at that last race if I had to. Was one of them. And dude, like it messed me up. Like I remember because I'm racing the mile on the twin.
Yeah.
The next day, and luckily it got rained out because dude, I could already barely walk from Peoria, and then it messed up my other side, and like I was sore, and so. But
You
yeah,
could say that about anything, dude. Like Verstappen, what did he say? If my grandma had balls, he'd be my grandpa or some shit. Like,
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean? You could say that about, like, everybody says something. I don't take away anything of the championships and races you won or anything, but the call is just an interesting one.
Yeah,
Like,
and
when
I
you
mean,
put
I
it in-
don't disagree at all. I mean, how could it's just one of those things. I think it's always what side of the fence are you on?
Yeah, of
I've been
course.
on both sides of the fence, but I can look at it, and I feel like I've always had that trait of I can look at a situation if I'm in it from both sides.
That's cool.
And when I look at that, it's yeah. I don't know about that one. When they did it, I was like, "Are you serious?"
Yeah.
Like when Tim walked down to the pits and he told me, we were both like, "Are you sure?"
Let's get the fuck
we're
out of
gonna have
here.
to-
We're like,
let's get the fuck out of here,
we're like,
dude.
let's just go ahead and rain this next one out. Ugh, it was. We were not like it was, and so, and that's tough too because like with the whole, like I watched how much they went through tough times. The twin, if you want to get into that, and when it come to the next year, no credit was given. You know what I mean? Like for what they went through and what they did, it was all just because of the rules. It was the reason we had
rules
success.
and money.
And that was tough for me because
But I feel like that's dirt track. Unfortunately, I feel like dirt track has a negative.
Nobody likes the winner.
No, it has a negative atmosphere.
it's a
like,
great way to put it.
like just an atmosphere. Like people are always like, cry me. So like,
Absolutely.
money comes in, we don't like it.
Why do you think that
money
is?
goes away? We don't have it.
And dude, you got to put this in perspective. So at the end of 21, I tested the next day after Charlotte for the twin, and I'm like, I'm doing it. You know, we had some new parts we tried. We're going this new direction. I'm like, all right, I'm trusting the process. Like, I haven't rode anything else. I didn't really have another offer. Like, I think like one guy was like, hey, come ride my bikes. And I'm like, dude, you know, I'm making money. It's only getting better because I'm winning. And Tommy and JD, and it all was just lining up to be good. And so you got to put this in perspective. I'm a kid that all my life I wanted to be a Grand National racer. I wanted to have black and white plates. I wanted to have a national number. So first I'm going to race in a class with 13 guys. And that's tough because then all you hear is, yeah, you make the main. And so then when I went and I was immediately competitive, I liked that, you know, and I was like, I earned my national number because I won the title. They give you one. And so it's like, that was tough for me. But then it was tough too because I remember being a kid, like watching, like these guys were my heroes. Jared, Jake, you know, Briar, Brandon, those type of guys. I watched a lot of those guys win their first race, you know. Briar, Brandon, I watched those two win. Like, I remember when Briar won his first national at Lima, or Brandon won that national at Daytona. Nobody was pumped when I won that thing at Kentucky. You and Jared were the only ones, matter of fact. It was like dudes riding by me shaking their head, and I'm like,
oh, dude, I got flicked off too. Don't worry.
It was tough because that was hard, really, really hard for me because like everybody, like my fans and my family and the team. But like, dude, I remember people, like every rider was pumped for that guy when they broke out and they had that. You know, like I remember even when Kyle Wyman got his first Superbike podium. Yeah. Everybody, not a person there was not happy he won or had that success. It wasn't like that.
That's
and
sad.
It really was. And I didn't really, dude, to be honest, I didn't really get the respect from my competitors. And I'm not saying I hold grudges or anything. Like, I understand it's tough, but they didn't give us any credit for what we did. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that we didn't have an advantage on the big tracks. We for sure did. But you telling me them, you know, they was tough. We went 1-2 at Laconia. It didn't have nothing to do with the riders we are. That was my argument. Yeah. You know, and so I was like, dude, it's not even for me, but like JD and these guys, dude, this dude's been in the trenches for 3 years. Tim's been in the trenches for 5 years at that point. Just give him a little bit of credit. Like, man, stuck it out. And it was tough. It was really tough because, like I said, I didn't really get that respect until Daytona the next year. I come out and won both. And then everybody was like, okay, like, yeah, you're a guy. You can be a guy. And that's when I kind of set in. And like I said, nobody... we did, like, to be blunt, like, we got treated poorly that first year. And we were not, like when JD said on the podcast that he was the outcast, we were the outcast. Like,
you could feel it.
Oh, yeah, dude.
You could feel it.
Nobody wanted to hang out. Nobody wanted to talk. And, like, I understand. It's, you know, they had been racing and winning and, you know, the rules. And to be honest, nobody would probably believe this, but, like, we didn't want what to happen with the rules. We wanted to go at them head to head, and you know.
That's what I heard from Tim. I mean,
and then all that stuff started with Tim buying the rules, and luckily Tim's level headed. It doesn't bother him, but it just was a tough time. It's not that it was. It was tough, but it's just not how I imagined my rookie year. I just imagined it differently, which is fine. Everybody has their own story, and it was what it was for whatever reason, and everybody's cool now.
I think it's interesting you say that because, I mean, people always, and especially now, right? Facebook is absolutely fucking cancer and, you know, social media, but it's so crazy how, like, narratives get played out. But, like, I really only have one Tim story, right? From me is, like, I know Tim, he's always been great to me, but, you know, I've always never judged a book by its cover, and purely just because you just never really know what somebody's going through or doing. But I was going through it, right? Like in 2008.
I remember that. I was there for that.
I remember I was there, and they brought the bike in. Tim was like, "Hey, bring it in," and all that. And cool. dude, I was broke. I've never been like, I was so broke. You know the story. And
Dude, I mean, like, broke.
oh my God.
Like, coming over at the races, he's eating peanut butter and jelly. I'm like,
broke.
dude, you good?
Yeah.
He's like, I didn't let the hog warm up. It didn't run good. I'm like, oh, tough night, buddy. Sorry.
But my Tim story is this, is that he somehow caught wind from Dustin that I was absolutely fucking broke. And Dustin goes, hey, man, listen, dude, Tim kind of collects these gas tanks or whatever the fuck, the gas pumps. He's like, he needs somebody to go drive to fucking California or wherever the hell it was to go pick one of these up. He goes, nobody in the shop wants to fucking do it. And I'm like, I'll go. I'll do it. And he's like, he'll probably throw you $2. And I'm like, just tell him I'm fucking in. Dude, literally. I just get a text from like a random number. Hey man, like I need you to go here. You can take this. And at the time, I don't even think he gave me a gas card. He was like, hey, just fill up it and just keep your receipts. No problem. Cool. Like, dude, but at that time, like, didn't have fucking money for it. Like, I remember I took the Sprinter. I'm texting Dustin because it was like, I'm in the middle of nowhere. And I'm like, dude, I'm going to run this fucking thing out of diesel, dude. There's no fucking gas station, bro. Like, how low can I go before fucking, like, I'm going to blow this thing up. Anyways, I come back. What my Tim story is I come back, and it was like, I literally drove back, and he's like, hey, man, I need you to go pick up this bike. It's Nikki's Honda. I went and picked it up.
World Superbike.
Yeah, I went and picked it up. I'm going to give it to Tommy. And then he's like, and this was right before we had to go back to go racing. And I'm like, he's like, do you think you could do it? And I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. And I'm like, but it was like, that means I had to go there, back, and then leave to go racing to like New Hampshire or whatever.
Or yes, Illinois or something.
Some crazy, it was all the way back. And I'm like, fuck, I got to do it. And still, like, this was so close that I didn't go and see Tim or really meet him, like, in his office until after the second job. So he's like, hey, man, can you go and do this? Same thing. Hey, if you need a hotel, because it's a big one, just do it. Save your thing. And I remember I came back, and he's like, hey, just come into my office. He comes in. He gives me, like, a wad of cash. I just want to thank you for doing this out of this. And, you know, I threw a little couple extra so you can get some you know, gas money, and you can go racing. And, hey, don't worry about it. We got some parts from... I own our Indian dealership, and we have a parts catalog. We got some parts for your bike coming and stuff like that. And I just remember, like, didn't need to do any of that.
No.
Right? And, like, so...
That's the type of person he is.
Yeah, and so, like, when you hear all these things and like that, and I'm like, it's so hard for me to get on that bandwagon because I'm like, somebody like that wouldn't do that for me.
And that's what's upsetting for me, too, because I'm like, you don't even understand the type of person he is. And then when you go back, like, I've since then met people that worked for his company, and they're like, man, he's took so great care of us. And he, you know, had a, you know, Christmas party every year. I mean, we have a Christmas party. Like, he doesn't have to do that. Like, just took great care of his employees. And you can tell by his relationships. You know, anybody that's worked with him, they love him, you know. And, I mean, of course, there's peaks and valleys and all this stuff. But, dude, so many things that guy's done for me that I'm like, why would you didn't have to do that, you know? And, like that. Like, I didn't know that. But that's just
nobody
who he is.
really knows
it. Doesn't surprise me, though, dude. That's just who he is. And that's why it does upset me, like, especially at first when I heard it, because I was young and had a hard time silencing it. I'm like, you don't even know what this guy is doing. And
I think it's always so amazing, too, because it's like from you know, I'm an outsider when it comes to flat track, but it's like, I mean, the amount of money that guy spent for no reason. Like, he doesn't have to be there.
For no reason. Yeah, seriously.
So when you get on, you know, when you see people on Facebook or like that whole time period of people complaining about rules or that he's buying stuff, whatever, it's like the guy's literally holding up the sport.
Yeah.
You know, there's like a few people on flat track that are kind of supporting it at that point. There's, you know, the roof systems guy and a few others. It's like, those guys go away because you guys are all talking shit all day on Facebook.
Yeah,
like,
and dude, I won't go into detail, but there's a lot of stuff he did for the series and for other riders that, like, if I told you, he would be like, what? Like, and that's just, even after that, but that's just the beauty of Tim, too, is he only cares what his friends and family think, and he knows what he's doing is awesome and great, and he doesn't have to, but he loves doing it, and all he cares about is what the people he cares about thinks, and that's pretty cool.
When you get to the end of a year like that, you know, winning races and whatnot, what do you do kind of get things back in order, recharge the batteries a little bit?
Oh, man.
Especially when you're like mentally down like that. Like, have you worked with like a mental coach, or is there anything
I haven't. I've always been like a pretty positive. Like I've been in dark places for sure. Like in 24, it was really tough when I broke my leg leading the championship. I was in a bad spot for a couple months, and even
You broke your femur, right?
yeah, right femur at a motocross track. That's 1 week before Peoria, literally the weekend before. And that was tough because even like I was in a bad spot, and then even when I got through it, like at the end, like after the year, I was even worse just because how it all lost title. But to recharge the batteries, man, I don't. I'm a homebody. I've always been a homebody. I just like being at home. I'm not one that to sit around and do nothing but chilling at home with my family or the boys. Like after the season was over, we went to Motocross of Nations and had a great time. And dude, like you say, like riding pit bikes with the boys or hanging out at home, just that's kind of like what I like. Like after a weekend, I just like to chill and take it in. And I don't know. I don't really do any certain thing. Like I'm not like JD that has to be moving all the time, but I'm not like a Skoltz that's like, dude, I'm just gonna lay on the couch. Like I'm kind of in between. So I don't know if the boys want to hang out. Sometimes like Max and I will get together and we'll chill and go get dinner. Maybe I just hang out with my mom. Like maybe I don't know. So I just being at home. I think
Just like being home.
yeah.
Well, that's your UWASA batteries. Recharge your batteries. UWASA, the most trusted battery in power sports since 1979. For over 45 years, UWASA has delivered power, reliability, and passion at every turn. UWASA supplies power sports batteries to more OEMs and riders than all our competitors combined in the U.S. and globally. The reason is simple: premium quality, unmatched reliability, long life, and advanced engineering with years of application. Find your UWASA battery at a local UWASA dealer via uwasabatteries.com.
You're gonna make me want to buy a UWASA battery,
Dude, if you
Got
don't, dude, support the pod, man.
You got to.
Support the
What are you into like at home? Like what do you and the boys get into? Are you like into other stuff?
Do you
watch
own your own
football?
house?
No, but I am.
You need a realtor?
Sorry.
I got a guy.
Yeah, I know the
No.
guy.
Dude,
no,
in Florida, dude. Let's do this.
I'm actually renting a house in Owensboro this year.
You are?
To be close to the shop and some other stuff. And
Do
so
you ever
I'm-
go to Moonlight?
Please tell me.
I've been to Moonlight.
Please tell me you're renting from Tommy.
I am.
Yeah, of course.
I can
course.
see Rose's house from where you guys were. I'm pumped. Yeah, no, so I am doing that. We can get into that, but that'll be kind of my first time doing my own thing. And my crew chief is living with me too because the team rents an apartment for the the guys that stay there, which was my dad and my crew chief.
From
So I was
Tommy?
like, no, it was just an apartment that they had in a complex. And I was like, hey, get that out of there because I'm going to be traveling a lot. And, like I'm down here and he's back there. So I've got a roommate, I guess, so to speak, which is a guy that works on my bikes. He's only there 3 days a week. But so, yeah, that's what do I get into at home?
Are you a football guy like Rod? You
No,
like a Bears guy?
No,
Nothing?
I don't watch sports, dude. I can't tell you
Me
What do you
neither.
do?
who won life revolves around motorcycles. I love watching old races. I like watching movies. I do watch a lot of movies.
Oh, yeah, you're kind of a quote guy,
I butch
too.
out quotes all the time, yeah. But I don't know. I've always got something coming up, like getting stuff ready for the winter. Come down to the winter, get home, then we're riding. We'll ride at Tommy's, and that's a process. Or, going to the group bicycle ride. I'm working on that, and then I like to stay busy. If I'm sitting around doing nothing, I don't like that. I've got some buddies in town. Like there's a buddy of mine that was friends with my dad. He's got a couple of kids and 2 young kids. I'll go over and mess around with them and say what's up. But I don't really have
So, like, what's a typical day? Like in
well, it depends on what time of the year it is. Depends on what's coming up.
say, summer. You're middle of the season.
Is there a race that weekend?
Maybe not. Maybe it's an off weekend.
Well, so Max lives about an hour and a half from me, and I've got some boys in town, but they got regular jobs and stuff like that. So Max and I, if we're gonna, and he lives with our buddy Matt Gunther. We're all really good friends, and so if we want to go get into what do you like? You've been to the barn.
Oh,
You?
dude.
Yeah.
Dude, the barn has eaten me alive before.
He's getting married this year.
Who?
Matt.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. So those boys kind of were the ones that broke me out of my shell and taught me not to be, taught me a couple bad things. But so we'll go like I don't know, like there's nothing really we get into. We just kind of like hanging out. I don't have any really hobbies. I get my, like a typical day for me is I'm going to get my training in, and then if I have time after, then maybe we'll go do something or whatever. But I don't watch sports. I don't, you know what I do at this time of the year? I'm heavy in Supercross, man. I play fantasy. I love Supercross. I follow.
You're not in the league though.
Yeah, no, I didn't make the league this year. I went into an Owensboro one. I'm an OWB guy now.
Too expensive, dude.
Sorry, man.
Too expensive.
But yeah, no, I sound kind of lame. Like I don't know. Like it's.
Do you ever get kind of like, I don't know, burnt out on just like bikes, or you're still young and?
Not necessarily. I get a little fried on the racing side just because like this last year, like it just gets, you know how it is in the championship battle, it gets tough. And when you're thinking, like it doesn't leave, it blends into everything. So like my life revolves around motorcycles, and like family comes first. Family always comes first, but like it blends into your life. And when the championship battle got, really tight, and it was things were getting, it was tough. So my friends like Max and Matt really specifically, they do a good job at like, dude, loosen up. Like you got to quit thinking about racing. Cause like I am a type of person that I did that to myself a few times where I'll just get so tunnel vision into racing and I just grind myself into a hole, not necessarily with training, but just thinking about it. So Max and Matt like really did a good job of like, dude, just chill. Like you don't have to go get hammered, but like just come with us and hang out. Like we'll just do other stuff. We're not going to talk about racing. And so that was good for me to learn because I was just so gung-ho in it when I was young. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. I am young enough that my life does revolve around racing, and I love bikes. Like I want to go ride. I want to go do this. Yeah, I may want to break from racing at this time. Like I don't really do outlaw racing or stuff anymore, but I'm riding moto. I'm riding my bicycle. I'm doing something. I just like bikes. Like I say, dude, I seriously don't watch sports. I don't know any sports teams.
That's fine.
I just watch old races.
So when you talk about racing, championship battle this year, last year before. Now, talking about those two championships, those are two different championships. One, you've got two different riders, two different styles, and two different motorcycles with two very different sets of rules, right?
Yeah.
Like your bike didn't change too much. I think they took some electronics off, or I'm not 100% sure, but your bike pretty much stayed the same.
Yeah.
But they removed the Indian. So, right? Because you raced against Jeremy's in that championship. Breyer was, on a KTM, whatever. And then this year you raced against Breyer on the Harley.
Yeah.
So speaking about those two championships, because I would arguably say those might be your hardest championships, both of them, one to lose, one to win.
Yeah.
But against two different people. I have a couple questions rolling around this, but the first one is how were the championships different riding against two different rivals? One, the riders, but two, also different bikes. Like, has the sport had to change the way you ride versus the Indian versus the Harley?
Not necessarily, no. Like, I can't really sit here and tell you a difference of the bikes, but two completely different competitors. One thing, too, I've touched on is, like, the two of them are at a completely different times in their lives. And I think that has a lot to do with it. Like, when Breyer battled with Jared was, like, kill or be killed, race, like, I'm going to win. And not that that's not how he was with me, but he's older. You kind of hear in his interviews, it's not like he doesn't care, but he's like, I just want, like, it just was different. Mm-hmm. He's older, struggled bad on the TTs and small tracks. When Breyer was racing him, he was like gnarly. Where I feel like when Jared was racing Breyer, he was more like me now. And when I'm racing Breyer, he was like Jared was. Like Breyer's in the prime of his career, I'd like to think. Like his championships, like his age and his experience, like he's, at the peak, I would feel. He had even though he didn't win the title, he had his best season ever as far as other stats, race wins, and podiums. So the bikes, you can't really tell much of a difference. For us, we struggled a bit because in 24 when I got hurt, you know, they were changing the rules, and when it come time, like we would maybe do some preseason testing, like I was hurt, so I didn't ride. So we were kind of on the back foot coming into Daytona, and we had all different tire.
That's what I keep hearing.
The tire was completely different, and like I think the tire kind of brought the production bikes up in performance or speed wise, you know, because the tire we were racing on before, I don't want to say it was bad, but it was tougher, like, you know, I think for the production bikes specifically. And you'd seen that, like there was an outlaw race they did where Vanderkoy ran with Davis, and Davis was on an unrestricted Indian and Vanderkoy was on his KTM. So, and it just was tough because Jared was so crafty. And not that Breyer's not crafty, but Jared's just another level. Like, you know how he is. And it just was just a lot of differences. And it was tough because like that championship came down to the last race, you know, and Breyer and I had, you know, we had some contact there in Sturgis, where with Jared it was pretty clean the whole time. There was one time at Chico, he made a move, and I was like, that's borderline, you know, like close to me being pissed off. And I just kind of let it go. And then he messed himself up riding a mountain bike, and I won the next race, and it was kind of smooth sailing until I got hurt. Where Breyer, like, he come out firing on all cylinders, and when we had that, it was already tense. And when he got into me, then it was real tense. And then from that moment on, it was gnarly.
Yeah, it was. What do you think? Is there anything specific about the way? I don't want to say the way they race, but like as competitors, like was the mental side different? Like what? I'm just trying to pull because like I know all three of you. Right. You know what I mean? And I know off track stuff, but like as being in a championship battle, it is tough. And I don't think people really realize it, but you've had now the experience to be with probably some of the greatest in the sport, like head to head, So like just trying to understand like the differences, like mentally, or like I mean, obviously Breyer's really good on short tracks and TTs as well.
Yeah.
So there's one thing, but Jared was always kind of a mile master.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough too because Jared was sort of a mentor to Breyer.
I know.
And I think he is now too. Like I think I could be wrong, but I think that, he's kind of helping him again, or at least they're friends more so than Jared and I. Like, not that I don't have a problem with Jared, I just don't talk to him. They're a lot closer in age, and they were friends. Like, he helped Breyer out a lot. So I'm getting a lot of what I rate, like, with Jared, with Breyer, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, because he helped him. But it's just, I think it's, the biggest difference is just Mies is a bulldog. Mies is going to figure it. Like, he is not stopping until the job is done. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's not giving up. And not that Breyer's giving up, but, like, it's just different. Like, Mies is just Mies.
Yeah.
There will never be another. Like,
he's the GOAT
not that there will never be another Mies, but, like, just the way he is. Like, he is, just, like, gonna make it happen. And that's I admire that about him. And like I said, not that Breyer's like not gonna make it happen. Like, I feel like Breyer this year was really tough. Like, he wanted to make, Jared stepped away. He was very vocal. He wanted to be the guy to take his shoes. And I was very vocal that I'm gonna take what I wanted last year, And I think that also too, it's a little bit different because Breyer just come off of 2 really tough seasons. And he does not want to be where he was. He believes he's a championship caliber guy, which he is. I mean, he won 2 championships against Mies. You're not a championship caliber guy. Yeah. So he came in even more hungry than I think he ever had. Mm-hmm. So that's why I think they were more similar than maybe they should have been. But to like really tell you a difference, like a champion's a champion, like we all have a lot of things in common. The way he races, yeah, sure, it's a little bit different. Mies is a little bit more crafty, a little bit more methodical about what he's doing. Breyer feels like he's fast. He's just going to get to the front and go. Mies struggled on short tracks and TTs. Breyer struggles on miles. Like, is that his package? Mies, I think, just where he was in his career because he used to be really good on those tracks, it's funny, like he said when he raced Smith, he prayed for short tracks and TTs. But when he raced me and Breyer, he prayed for more miles, on the schedule. So it's just interesting to see like those rivalries on guys' strengths and weaknesses. So
when you're I guess for people who don't really watch flat track or aren't so familiar, you guys, for most people, it looks like you guys are just going around in circles. But from your perspective, like when you're watching those guys ride, what is it that separates you guys? Like what is it that when you're watching like Breyer out there, like what are you picking up on that kind of, I guess you're trying to improve on, or that he does a little bit differently that makes it a challenge?
Yeah, that's a tough one to answer. I don't.
Like, is there little things he does that are different? Is he better at finding different lines throughout the course of a race or a night or something? Or like what makes you guys different from each other? That
I think it's more he's trying to class all of you guys, and you know what separates you guys from the rest. Or
I think a lot of it is what we put into it, like the time, like Breyer, like we said he will learn from Jared. Like I learned in the twins class, if you want to be at the top, you want to beat Mies and Breyer, it's going to take everything, like physically, mentally. That's why I say, like, it sounds kind of weird. I don't really have much of a life. Like, dude, I'm just like, if I want to win, I got to be on point. And like, it's what I want to do. So it goes hand in hand. But what separates us from everybody else is, I don't know. I think some of it last year was we were kind of fueling each other. We didn't want to get beat by the other guy. And so I think we were going better than maybe we would have if it was just one of us. What does he do better than me? I mean, it's tough to pick up on that. If I knew that, I'd just start doing it. Try to just beat him all the time. But
yeah, but there's got to be natural things, though, right? Like I know there's things that James does better than me.
He's naturally talented on a motorcycle, and not that like I don't really pride myself on my natural talent. Like I had talent, but I had to work at it like a lot, and so. For that reason, certain things just come easier for him, it looks like, from the outside looking in. And it's all kind of track dependent. He can do certain things, especially also being taller. He can do certain things with the bike that I can't do. And there's certain things with the bike I can do that he can't. And so I think some of that's like his ability on the smaller tracks. And two, a lot of it is his experience. Those extra years of experience, like I'm still trying to learn, like, okay, the track's going to go this way, we think. So we need to go this way with the bike. Like him and his team were good at that. Like Mies was always good at that too. Like they can predict what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And we're still trying to learn that. Like, what's it going to do? We don't want to make the wrong decision.
What kind of changes are you talking about? Because I understand a little bit, but I don't think people realize you guys do that kind of stuff. Like, I don't think people understand how much of a science there is to actually a night of flat track.
It's tough too because the track's always changing. Like road racing, temperature, rain, or dry. Like there's only a few factors which I'm not saying that road racing is insanely difficult, especially I'm not discounting that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that with flat track, the track is ever changing.
Yeah.
So every lap every session you go on, it's completely different. So, I mean, we're adjusting chassis, gearing, wheels. I mean, where you put, front end, rear end. I mean, just shock, forks, tire pressure, the whole thing. Like there's a certain math equation to the perfect setup that you're just kind of trying to find. And you have your box, you show up with a box and you kind of you don't want to get too far out of it. And you have your notes from the year before, but then you could go and the track could be completely different, and so then like, I can't tell you how many times like Lima dominated Lima in 24 and could flip the bike completely upside down for the next year. Like it's just the beauty of flat track, and like the beauty of it too is I think like some of it is like there can be a guy that maybe doesn't quite have it to win, but one night he can figure it out and he can do it, and so it's just like
it's always weird too
flat
because
track's just so unique.
What's crazy is because you guys have taken like more road race approach, I would say, as a team, right?
Absolutely.
Like you've bought like a lot of the Yosh guys. Tommy Hayden came in and kind of put the whole road race vibe through. You've got
Our truck drivers, Joey Lombardo, a crew chief for Tommy.
But you also have engineers. You've got electronics guys. I mean, it's very, very unorthodox for dirt track. Whereas you're racing against some of these old guys. You know, when I did it with Joe Kopp, Kenny Coolbass, Kenny Tober, it's like that have just been built on years, decades of just experience on the same tracks of what goes on, what we need to do. And even though things have changed, I think it's really tough because when you go from the road race approach, you need data. You need year over year. They have that data, but it's not like they have engineers.
the back of their heads.
They're just like, and it was really blown away my year with Joe Kopp. Like all the races that I won, my mainly rear wheel shocks, whatever, were like, they're calling second call and it's still out of the bike. And I'm like, Joe, we got to go. And he's like, he goes, I want to make this change. And I'm like, whatever you think, dude, let's do it. Like,
Right.
I don't know what the fuck's going on.
No,
Like, make the change. And he's like, all right, I think we're going to go with this. And
Is that
I'm
because
like,
the weather's changing?
It's just the weather, the track, the way they walk.
Moisture.
We're gonna water. Like what? Like we have a totally different setup for that.
it's crazy.
Yeah.
And the
No, it is
engineers-
nuts. I just don't think people realize, like, my 1-2
But
years
like,
in it, I learned.
but
a little
even
bit,
like tread height, lug height, a rasp or a fucking
Yeah,
thing, or
1
like a
pound
tooth
here.
up. If you're gonna run up high, you need a tooth down or two teeth. Or,
Yeah.
like, dude, it's
and then
fucking nuts.
It
trying
is
the
nuts.
balancing between the engineers and the old school dirt track guys, because we have both. It sometimes is tough because
imagine.
they're like, no, if you want to make this change, it's going to go to this, and we're like, no, but you don't understand what the track's doing. So it's just, boy, it's a tough balancing act because it's just so unique, and that's what people like. It's easy to ride around in a circle. We can all go out and we can ride a flat track, and it can be fun. But to go fast, it's a different story. And then there's nights where you're like just pouring sweat in the main event and you're using 20% throttle because it those are the nights that are tough, like mentally, like I'm catching them, but okay, like just probably use the rear brake a little bit. Like it's just like those nights are when that's what's like flat track makes flat track so unique for me is like, moto guys are like, you go slower to go faster. Like, what do you mean? I'm like, dude, you don't get it.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
What do you like? Do you think that you've only rode for one team in your entire pro career so far, right? Mm-hmm. Do you think that's helped or hindered you, or do you think when you talk about experience, when you go against a Mies that's rode a Honda, a Harley, an Indian, Kawasaki, whatever it may be, built his own bikes, this, that, and the other, do you think that makes it harder to go against somebody like that experience-wise, like that can pull something out? Or do you think the lack of experience, helps you being so focused on your own, I don't know if you've ridden other twins.
Yeah, no, I haven't.
That's insane.
So yes and no, because I've poured a lot of time into this twin, and so to speak, it's kind of, I don't want to say based around me, but I've had a lot of input into it on what I want it to be like. And JD has too, but since he's left, even we've kind of went some directions on some stuff. So I think in certain situations, yes, it's probably a negative. Just the experience of like all the different bikes Breyer's rode, or all the different crew members he's worked with. Like Jared, he's had like basically the same crew. He's just been, it was either a Harley or an Indian. Those were the only twins he rode. But I never rode a XR. I never rode an Indian. So I don't know what a perfect flat track bike's supposed to feel like. But also, Tommy would be like, he liked that I never rode one, because when we were developing this thing, or trying to, it wasn't like, oh, well, we needed to do this because the Indian does, or we needed to do this because XR does. Like, he had dealt with that a little bit. I just would come in and say, hey, it's doing this. This is what I think. Okay, we'll work on that. So I think it helps a lot, but in certain situations, it's tough because I just don't have the experience. Now, do I think I need to go ride a different manufacturer to earn that? No, I think I just need more years. Now, I think, riding for Tim is awesome. Like, I would love to do my whole career with Tim if I could. But I'm not nervous if I had to go do something else. I want to stay with Tim. I love my guys. I love my motorcycle. Like hearing when I was listening to Roger's podcast, like he talks like when you remember when he went to the track, like that's me, dude. I love my guys. I love my team. I love my motorcycle. I love going to the shop and Tommy's amazing, and working with him. Like I feel like we can, figure anything out. So I want to stay there. But that being said, I'm not nervous if I had to go a different route. You know what I mean? So
I think it's special. It makes racing way more fun when you're having a good time and you're around people you want to be around.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. No, when you're struggling and you're having a hard time, it's not fun. And like you say, it blends into everything.
Yeah.
It doesn't stay. It's not like when you walk out of the pit gate, oh, all right,
You
we'll
just
deal
leave
with
it.
it next week.
It's not a 9 to 5.
And that's what people like. I always have people like, oh, you imagine if you had to work a regular job. It's like, dude, I would like a regular job's easy compared to not easy. Like I'm not being a dick, but deal with the pressure, winning and losing. And when you lose and, it's like you're home, you have a bad race and then you have a month off and you're just on your bicycle. Like,
got a bad month.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, Kyle, my teammate says it. He goes, everybody wants a factory ride until you get the factory fucking ride.
Exactly. I'm
And
like,
then
dude,
it's like,
I'm not saying a 9 to 5 is easy. I don't want I don't want to figure it out, but I'm just saying that it's not just because I race motorcycles and I do what I love. Yes, my midweek is easier. I can kind of make my own schedule, but the weekends are gnarly.
Yeah. Something we talked about with JD with specifically the Yamahas and the SSN team is, introduction of electronics during those years. And is that something that JD helped you, Tommy? And what was it like? I mean, I've never ridden TC on a dirt track bike. Like, what was that kind of like in that time frame? And did you use it? I know JD said that they had it and they were using it and trying it, and it was kind of a pretty crazy ordeal.
I remember when they first started trying it, it was crazy, like not great at all. And that was the guy that we have for electronics. His name's Scott. He worked for Yosh with Heron and Tony. And so he's the one who kind of taught me about electronics. And I had a little bit of experience. Like I did a wild card in a Qatar with World Superbike on a Super Sport 300. And that was like my first taste of data. Like they're like, you need to, hold it wide open to here. And I'm like, I am. And they're like, no. And I'm like, oh, shoot, can't get away with that. That one doesn't work anymore. Dad would just be like, oh, are you sure? And I'm like, yeah. So, but he like kind of taught me about it. And I was learning it on the 450s because we had a little bit of stuff that we could play with. Not much, but just look at it and be like, here, dude, like, check this out.
Like what stuff?
Like just like when we would go testing like suspension data and RPM, but at the races for the 450s, it was really just RPM. Like I remember shifting on the miles, like, hey, you got to do it perfect because we didn't have a lot of power. And so trying to get the most out of the thing. And so I remember when they first brought the TC in, I was on 450s. It was like, whoa, like, well, what the hell? And that's some of the stuff we go back to people talking is they're like, we're only winning because TC. And I'm like, do you understand like TC on flat track? It's not like you just hold it wide open and just figures itself out. Yeah. So I never really used it a whole lot. I did a little when they allowed it, but like just to get it to mesh with the dirt was really tough because sometimes I want the rear wheel to spin to get the thing turned or to, carry more speed or whatever. JD used it a little more because he come from road racing. He was superbike, super sport guy. I'd never used it. So in certain situations, yeah, but like when they took it away, it was a little tough, but like I never really used it much. I mean, I did, at certain places, but it's just tough with flat track, man. Like some nights I want the wheels in line. Yeah. Some nights I want that thing sideways.
Was it cool?
The TC?
Like, just was it cool to like?
It just was
have
cool.
that in your toolbox.
Cool. It's just cool to play with. You know what I mean? Like, come in. It's like I always, you look at like watch the YouTube stuff or like I remember my first year road racing. We'd go down and watch Raj when he was his last year, and we'd like look in the Yosh pit and they're looking at the computer. Like, I just love all that technical stuff. Like, come in, look at, hey man, you're doing this here. You're using this much brake pressure, this, maybe try this.
Would you say you're a technical guy? Like you look at that stuff?
I would like to think I'm pretty honed in on what's going on. Like I enjoy the technical side, and I feel like I have a pretty good handle on what's going on, and I'm getting more and more involved as I learn more. And that kind of goes back to my dad. When I was young, he never, like, I was not allowed to blame the motorcycle. Like, there was no, he didn't let me know what changes were going on. You know what I mean? Because it wasn't going to be like, hey, I'm changed gearing for this one. Go out, suck. Oh, well, if you wouldn't have changed that gearing, like, there was none of that. It happened one time. My dad put a stop to it. He's like, you don't even fucking know what you're doing. You're not going to blame me. Like, and so so I just kind of grew up. And then my Dale Quarterly, my road race guy, he was like, you need to know what's going on. Like, you need to kind of start learning feedback. But I always kind of had decent feedback of, like, I would just say what I was thinking. I wouldn't be like, hey, I need,
2 rounds of preload.
Yeah, I need 2 rounds. Or we need to pull the forks up in the triple clamps. And you go a half pound in the rear. I'd just be like, hey, this is going on. And then I started learning the changes. And now with the twin, it's fun because there's so many knobs to turn. We can do so many things. And that's kind of why we go back to the positives for only riding that bike is I know, what knobs do what. I've never had to learn another bike. Yeah. So I do have a lot of fun with the technical side because it is fun when you're struggling with something. And I'll be like, for the first time, this last year, I'd maybe suggest, like, hey, remember when we did this? And we did it. It's like, man, that was better. Like, all right. Like, that's kind of a light bulb in its own. So it's been fun. Like, I do enjoy the data, enjoy being in those tough conversations of what changes we're going to make. But I also leave it to my guys. Yeah. Like, hey, man, you guys do whatever you think. I believe in you.
Do you think that's maybe a testament to your team, or you've had I remember watching a few set of races this year where you were struggling most of the day, and then like
a lot of races.
Okay, a lot of races, and main event time, like you're there. Like when the points were on the board, you kind of just showed the fuck up. What was that? Like, was that track changing in your way? You guys just like figuring it out? Hail Mary, you team, like what is that?
I think it's a group effort for one. I credit a lot of it to Tommy because he keeps a lot of our heads on a level playing field when shit kind of hits the fan. When we're like, dude, we have got to do something like now.
Yeah.
He's like, hey man, we're gonna figure it out, and we know what to do.
Hey man,
yeah. Hey, don't get nervous now. And I believe you can do it. So it's a lot of it I credit to him, and then I've become that way. Like there's been, I remember a time this year where the team's kind of freaking out. I'm like, hey, it's all good. We're going to figure this out. And they're like, yeah, you're right. And we kind of do, because it's hard to not get emotional. I do it too. And my dad's got to be like, dude, pull your head in. I'm like, you're right. So, I think some of it is, for whatever reason, like nothing amounts to the pressure I put on myself. You know what I mean? Like Tim's really good about, he's never been like, you have to win. He's always like, hey buddy, just do your best. I'm proud of you. The pressure kind of comes from Tommy and the other people of like, hey dude, we got to make shit happen. But it doesn't amount to the pressure I put on myself. I've always been like that. Like I remember people when I was young, they'd be like, he doesn't even have fun. Because I always look dead serious. Even now I still have a problem doing it. Like I just look angry. But it's just like that's how I love doing the sport. I love being serious. I'm taking it dead serious. Like if Tim tells me I gotta win and I don't go out and win, I'm gonna be more upset than worried about what he's thinking because I didn't accomplish what I wanted to. So I think that some of that, like for whatever reason, since I've been pro or really as an amateur too, like whenever chips were down and you had to show up, I've just showed up. Like I just knew that, hey man, that's the weapon I got. Good, bad, or indifferent, I got to make it work. And some nights, maybe it's not great, but some nights, one night at Lucas Oil or whatever, I come from the third row and got second, was close to winning the thing. But a lot of it, some of that stuff, I got to credit to the team because they would just keep working, man. That thing is upside down. It's back and forth. It's in the truck. It's out of the truck. And they just never stopped. But yeah, it was a lot of stressful moments.
What about, I know you said you're not so worried about like the future and if you had to make a pivot or whatever the case is, but you've had a pretty successful run at it since you turned pro. Have you been able to kind of set yourself up where that isn't such a stress for you. It's not like, if Essenson goes away tomorrow that you're like, homeless kind of a thing.
Yeah, no, I've been smart with my money, and I've got to credit a lot of that to my parents, Tommy and Tim. I lean on Tommy and Tim a lot, like just for questions. Like, dude, I don't mind asking a question when it comes to something I don't know, which finances is one. My parents, they both have no money to show for it because they spent it all on me racing. And they're like, listen, we didn't go to this point for you to not set yourself up.
Yeah.
You're going to be smart with your money. So for me too, I'm not one, I can't sit here and tell you I've made a dumb purchase. Like, I just don't spend money. The problem is I probably don't spend enough money. Like when it comes tax season, Uncle Sam comes knocking, I'm like, shit, I don't have a house. I don't have a wife. I don't have nothing. So it was like, I get stuff I need. Like, hey man, I want a van. Okay, I'll get a nice van. Hey, I want a extra motorbike. Get a motor. Now and as I get older, like
You're buying your motorbikes?
No, but like
yeah, okay. Yeah, all right, dude.
I get a
nice one, dude.
I'll call Tommy and ask for a new one.
Sometimes I get
nice.
an extra one. But
This guy,
just a backup for your
this
backup.
fucking guy,
Yeah,
dude.
exactly.
Yeah, get a motorbike. Yeah, I don't fucking pay for it.
I don't need a new filter. I'll just get a new bike.
exactly. But I've just always been one I don't really want to spend it. So I got set up with a good guy in town that gives me advice, and then Tommy and Tim, I lean on them a lot. They give me a lot of good advice. But so far, if I keep doing what I'm doing, Tim set me up where I've had great opportunity to do really good. And if I can keep doing what I'm doing for a little bit longer, I can set myself up to be, good I don't want to say good, but in a good spot in the future rather than just blowing it on houses and cars and,
Trying to say, dude.
and, all that other, like I've just been trying to be as smart as I can with it. And so,
And being smart, is that like, do you putting stuff in the market? You don't have to tell us exactly what you're doing, but you putting stuff in the market. Like, is those types of things? Like,
yeah. Well, I got a guy in town that I trust. That's a race fan. That's a good family friend of my grandparents, an older guy that works for a business. And he just kind of advises me, if I could give advice is start young, like I started putting into, my stuff when I was as soon as I turned 18. So I've got stuff going in there, and I don't really know I know what's going on with it, but I just trust him to do it. And, one of the best pieces of advice Tommy gave me, and he's like, find you a good guy and just trust him. Don't have money in 10 different places. I want to get involved in get some land and maybe into real estate and stuff, but I also want to minimize my distractions. I don't want to have a rental house to worry about where if the heater goes out and I'm at a race, I'm getting phone calls. And will that be something I visit in the future? Yeah, maybe. But I'm not really one that has the interest of like me's having 20 rental houses to work on myself. I just don't want to have that distraction. So I got this guy. I trust him. I ask Tommy and Tim questions when I want. My parents look out for me, make sure I'm not doing nothing stupid. Mom helps me with my taxes. I've got a lady at home that does them for me that's a fan. And obviously she doesn't do them for free or anything but she helps me out as much as she can, give me advice on what to spend, what not to spend. She works together with my financial guy, and I trust him. And if I have a question, hey, I'm wanting to, I'm thinking about buying a house. He'd say, okay, this is your market. I wouldn't go above this. You can afford this. I don't recommend, but you're more down here. And so I just shoveling money into him. And I've been doing it a lot since I've been living at home because, like I said, I don't have a lot of overhead expenses. So just if I spending, like you have to spend money, when you're making money, or else you're going to give it all to Uncle Sam. So I had to learn that the hard way a few times. And so I'm trying to be better at that, which is tough for me because I don't like spending money. Just ask my parents. They'll tell you. So yeah, it's been good, but I've just got a lot of good people that my thing is just find good people that you trust and just lean on, just ask questions, just one of those things.
I guess, yeah, that is pretty, I love that. And I think that's something cool. Is there anything Tim has, part of, or Tommy specifically? I mean, you said Tommy said, find you guys somebody you trust. I mean, Tim, I've always, it's always cool to somebody that humbled to be that well off and to build a business of that size and magnitude. And is there any sort of advice that's flown down to you a part of that, or is there any interest business wise Like, do you talk to him about that sort of stuff, or?
A little bit. When I was young, Tim was like, I'll never tell you what to do with your money. He's like, if you have questions, I'll answer them. So I don't want to say like there's, one of the things he says is cash is king. Cash is king. You always want to have cash. That's one of the things he says is, and he, I don't know. And we're just in totally different parts. Like he's, got a lot of money and so the way he does with his things is not what I do. So he'll I can't really say besides that, like one of his advice I'll just be there to ask questions. Like, hey, I was talking to my finance guy and he said this, what do you think? And or like I was looking at buying a piece of land and he would say, hey, these are the things I would look for. Or these are the things I'd ask. Now I do, over the last few years, I've kind of have an interest in wanting to start a business at some point, just because I want to prove to myself that I can do something other than racing. And I try to take care of my family as much as I can. Like I help with my sister going through school because she sacrificed a lot, and my dad or my mom, like if they need help, I'm the first there to help them because they did a lot for me. So I think it would be cool to set something up where my family could work for me and I could give them an opportunity to make a living if they choose to. But I am more so just to prove to myself that I could, not really to prove to anybody, I don't really care, but prove to me that I could build something up and do it, whatever that is. I don't know what that is. My dad and I have talked about a couple ideas. But I don't know. The money thing, I get more and more interested each year. I like the finance side, spending money, taxes, the whole 9 yards. I get more and more invested in it, and I'm starting to like learning about it. Especially because my finance guy, he's big on the numbers, so he'll be like, put it in his little calculator. He's like, dude, if you put this in, this is what it could be. And I'm like, dude, don't show me that. I don't want to know that. And he's like, yeah, just go, and he's good, and he's a race fan, so he doesn't understand racing, but he understands that's not forever.
Yep.
And he understands hey, dude, I could bring you in a big chunk because I won, and then I could come the next week and I have nothing. So he knows so that's kind of cool, is having that.
What's one thing that you, if it wasn't your bank account, would you want to buy?
What's a Gulf Point money move you'd make?
Like a bad money move?
Just a money move.
Something you splurge on, man. It's not your money, dude, but
it's not mine. I can just spend
whatever you want. What's something, you say you don't like spending your money.
But I've just got a blank check to get whatever I want.
Do you have something you want to buy that you're like, dude, the red Corvette's been on my wall?
I'm not a big car guy. I don't, dude, you know what and this is not a dumb purchase. I want to have my own shop on a piece of property where I can ride out and ride my track. That's when I go to JD's, I'm like, dude, this is it. And he's like, man, it's tough. And I'm like, I know that there's headaches, but this is what I want. I want to roll out of my shop onto my track. That's my dream. That's the only thing I really want.
So a piece of property.
And if I could pay to put an in-ground, my mom always wanted an in-ground pool, but we could never have one because, Dallas is racing motorcycles. So if I could put an in-ground pool, my mom could come chill. That would be the one that's not towards racing.
You think you'd ever buy a MotoGP bike? Is that interesting?
No. I would buy Tim's got a nice collection. He's got Ricky
crazy.
Graham's RS 750s. I would think about buying an old school bike. I do want to have a museum when I'm in my shop. I was just talking about this with my dad, and I'd like to have each one of mine. So building up the bikes, my dad made his national on, and so. But no, I don't really want to buy a MotoGP bike or.
Yeah, I hear you. It doesn't have any sentimental value.
Yeah, I just don't dude. It sounds boring saying it, but there's just not it's not I want a Corvette or I want a Lamborghini or.
Do you buy your van brand new?
No, I bought it used set up. But dude, I will buy. That'll be one. I'll get a nice van set up. I have a pickup truck. I drive it home. Yeah. I had an old Ford Ranger stick shift. I sold that and got something decent.
Cool.
But.
It's so funny. Two flat track guys in one day that are fucking cheap and young. It's I feel
I just don't.
I feel the whole dynamic is just flipped. You know what I mean?
I just don't spend.
I don't know, dude.
Well, I feel like you would think the opposite, or at least kind of used to be the opposite. Like dirt track road racing is like all the road racers
and, like,
like
to
where you want to
myself,
be and all the money and all this stuff. And now you got like 2 young kids that are like
setting themselves up for a future that are
Dude,
like,
I
how
just
old are you?
22.
they were
Dude.
reevaluating our
Like, dude,
lives.
if I'm gonna make a purchase, I have to justify it to myself. Like, it's like my dad will be like, dude, go buy something.
Yeah, I
like,
justify it to myself too.
yeah, and I'm like, dude, you know what I
He's
mean?
pants,
Like
dude.
I'm like, like I bought a nice bicycle, or I bought a van, or I bought a truck, but dude, I'm not like, man, them Nike Dunks, $800, that's on my list. Like, I'll wear stuff I get for free. Shout out to Revit, gave me this shirt. If not, I wouldn't have a shirt to wear. I don't buy clothes. I don't buy shoes. I don't, like my grandparents, they treat us nice for Christmas. I'll be like, hey, about time for some new shoes. Can I get a piece of some Vans? Yeah, sure. Like, dude, I just don't.
Hey,
I'm a simple guy, man.
that's cool, man. You're
This
setting
guy's got
yourself
these
up for
dunks in every color you can imagine.
What do you mean these aren't dunks? Air
Whatever,
Forces.
Air
dude.
Forces.
Listen,
Yeah,
that's our Gulf Point Advisors money move segment. I guess just don't spend any money and you'll have some. Just don't spend it, dude.
Don't spend it and you got it. No,
Find somebody you like and give it to them.
just
Use
get
your
a
number.
good-
Do you sponsor America? Is that what your deal is? You're single-handedly paying off the deficit.
Hey,
Dallas
if you're watching
Daniels.
this, thank you. No, I don't know. I'm a boring guy, man.
Hey, that's okay, man. I think it's super smart, man. And
It's very smart. It's very, very smart because, you're 22 and probably 5 more years, you'll be able to do something else and it won't be stressful.
And I know too, like I said, I want to have a shop and property and this stuff. Like I know there's going to be times where I want to spend that money, So now I'm cool with just racing my flat track bike and living in the van.
Yeah. Well, founded in 2016, Gulf Point is a boutique investment firm led by longtime listener Tris Millard, helping clients nationwide build smart financial plans for the future. If you have questions or want to learn more, call 603-731-3230 or email Tris at gulfpointadvisors.com or visit gulfpointadvisors.com. Gulf Point Advisors, investing with purpose. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA, SIPC. Advisory services offered through New Edge Advisors, LLC, a registered investment advisor. New Edge Advisors, LLC, and Gulf Point Advisors are separate entities from LPL Financial.
you're killing it.
Dude, we're 3 hours in.
I know, but I just want
Dude, it's like
I
I'm
want
on a set of a movie. Like I
know.
watch this stuff on the radio.
I know,
It's
but
pretty cool.
But I want to kind of just dig into one other thing before
Dig in, James.
because like the one thing that I think's interesting about you is you're kind of I want to say part of the, I don't know, maybe it's your personality, but you're part of the old school kind of vibe. Like,
You don't
You know-
feel 22, that's for sure.
no, but also
I
like
get
I
that a
want to
lot.
get into like the social media side of things, right? Like, you're kind of low key.
hate social media.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, I'm trying to do better about it too, because it's just the way it's going these days.
And I mean, I feel like, like the Haydens and, like that vibe, they were very like same thing. Just like they had a lot of press on them because of the Haydens, right? And,
Right.
and, but social media wasn't like,
What it is.
no, for sure. And I feel like you're kind of in that same bubble-ish, like JD as well. He's kind of coming out of his shell a lot
and
more
I'm kind
now.
of grown up in the area where social media has just taken off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the Haydens kind of at the end of their career, it was a thing. Like I grew up in the era of YouTube, like I remember YouTube coming out and I used to watch Sammy Halbert's videos and Thunder and Flat Track Live. And, but dude, I am like old school. Like we joke about it all the time. Like I rolled a like Seether, Nickelback, Red Jumpsuit Apparatus. I ain't listening to no
Divorced dad rock.
Yeah, that's exactly, dude. I love that stuff. Like, Seether did a remake of Careless Whisper. Dude, I'm jamming out on that on the way here. Like
Sick.
Motley Crue. Like, I'm not really into just, and I'm like, I don't know, just this new generation of doing everything on their phones, like even handling confrontation over text. Like, I'm like, dude, let's just talk. Let's just talk about it.
Yeah.
That's how I grew up. My dad, like, I don't know, like, if my dad didn't agree with something, he called the person out on it or whatever it is, So growing up in the social media has been tough because I feel like I have a personality that people can relate to and like I could be something fun to watch. But just to put the time and effort into it, I've done better. And this year I'm really going to make a step to try to do better at that.
Well, I mean, the real reason I ask is because, I thought this pod was going to go quite a bit differently. and it's been an amazing podcast, and you're way different out of your shell. I know I talk with you away, and we've had conversations at the track, and but I've always feel like you're always kind of in your shell a little bit.
No, I am, and
it's like now, like as soon as we open the doors here, I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? Like
Right.
No,
I get that a lot, man.
You're quite funny, right? And you're like totally relaxed. You're good in front of the cameras, but you have a way of telling stories, and you're very articulate. It's crazy to me that you don't do more on social media.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of why I'm like going down the path a little bit, is like, what is the reasoning? Is it you just hate it, or what?
It's
like,
not that I hate it necessarily. Like, I do enjoy it. Like, I watch, Cooper Webb's vlog and all these new vlogs, and that's something.
You big Deegan fan?
Do you want to get into that?
Eventually.
Yeah. So, and I need to go down that route because I think I could have something that people would enjoy like this right now. And it's tough because a lot of people judge me by what they see at the track. And I'm like, dude, if you just come hang out with me, like, I'm a good time. I love having a good time. I love
this guy. This guy is a salesman.
I'm real fun at parties.
This guy is more of a salesman than I've ever seen.
Man, I like to party. No, I'm just.
Hey, I'm Rico, and I too like to party.
No, you build ramps. But dude, like I like to cut up and laugh and have a good time. And do you want to get into movie quotes, dude? You don't want to go down this battle. I'll win every time. But dude, it's tough because like I do think I don't get some fans just because of what they see. They're like, he's too serious, or he's not having fun, or how many times I was a kid that I heard he doesn't have fun or whatever. Like I remember a guy even told Tim, he's like, don't hire him. His dad makes him race. Dad's like, you kidding me, dude? So it's something I don't hate it. I do enjoy it. But for me to just put the time and effort into it, and then some of it is like paying the money, like I'm just like, I really don't want to pay the money to have somebody do it, but I need to do it, and I'm going to do it. And I actually I'm having a meeting with a guy here soon to talk about that and to have some help. And I just need a little bit of guidance. If there's something I don't know, sometimes I'll just close off, like with the financial thing. I didn't know anything about it. And my mom and dad were like, you need to do this. So then once the doors open, then I'll ask questions. But if I don't know, then I'm kind of just nervous because I don't want to look like an idiot, or if I don't know what I want to do it right. And so, and two, like, dude, I just can't handle the negativity, especially that surrounds flat track, like specifically on Facebook.
Oh,
it's ridiculous. Like, dude, some of these people, like there's one guy, I won't say his name.
Dude, put him on blast. Fuck him.
He listens. He knows who he is. Or I don't know if he listens, but so he said a bunch of stuff. And so I seen him at an amateur race, and I'm like, yo, what's up, man? Like, why would you say it?
Clams right up.
What? I'm like, dude, get off the limiter. What are you talking about? And I'm just like, he wouldn't say anything to me.
Yeah, it's
and
my favorite.
I'm like, okay.
Clapping back.
But then go back home and we'll get on his phone. And I'm like, I just can't. We just live in a generation that lives behind their phone. So I just need to learn to not. I've learned that stuff doesn't bother me anymore. Like reading it, like people are gonna say, but like the way my dad makes it okay is he's like, how many people said that Scotty Parker was cheating or was doing this or was doing that? They just couldn't blast it. They had to go in the wind in Cycle News, and nobody's going through that to do that. So do I wish there was no phones at certain times? For sure, but. Also, too, if I can tap into it, it's probably a better sponsorship opportunity, better opportunity for me to show who I really am, gain more fans, better for the sport. I want to grow the sport. I'm not just about it for me. I want to see the sport do well because I'm a fan. So it's something I need to do better at.
Do you think that you could gain maybe some, I mean, I don't know how to say this, but you've had a pretty Gucci gig. Like, do you think you could gain, like if it all went away today, do you think that, like, how do you build a program? I mean, okay, I don't know how to really say it. Like, I don't know how to say it in a way where, like, do you think that,
like, could I use social media to help me build something?
Yeah, but I feel like you kind of have to start from scratch, or do you think you need it? Or I guess maybe that's the word. Do you think you would need it to then build something? Like, and when I mean Gucci gig, right? Like
to find the supporters to do it.
Well, like, for instance, like you ride for a team that's kind of road racy, right? So all the sponsors are pretty much provided. You probably have a few personal deals, but you can't really get much further outside the box. Like Factory Harley, like get no logos.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's hard. Do you think that you're missing opportunities by not having it?
Yeah, 100%. And that's kind of what's woke me up to this is like a lot of supporters or sponsorships nowadays look at your social media interactions. And I'm active, but I'm not active. You know what I mean? Like, and I just think that dude, every time, so it just depends on what I say. You're just like, you think I'm hilarious for some stuff. It's funny. Dude, I could have you, we need to hang out. I could have you just rolling. But I think that there is a lot of opportunity, and I have actually thought about that like if there comes a day I got to put my program together, it's just another selling piece, right?
Yeah.
Hey, man, I got this YouTube channel that has this many. And like I enjoy, like when we're around the camera, like doing this stuff. It's not that I don't enjoy it. It's just all the stuff that comes with it. So I definitely have thought about that, and it would be, really to wrap it up, like it or not, it is what it is, and it ain't leaving, so I can either tap into it and try to help myself and try to help the sport more importantly, or I can just keep doing what I'm doing and Eli Tomac it, and it's not.
Yeah, true story.
It's
Jake
not.
Gagne.
It's not terrible, but it's just.
It's always the Yamaha fucking dudes.
It's true. It's the dudes from Colorado, which I'm not from Colorado, but it's just, now it's something I want to tap into just because I've got some advice from certain sponsors and from people that are like, hey, if you would do better at this, like if we could see you out of your shell. But more importantly, the fans too. The fans only know me as the guy on Saturday night that, wins and says, thanks, Essenson. I'm happy to be here, and goes home. I'd be like, I like to show them what I do through the week, and that, I am fun. I like to have a good time, and, I take it serious, but also get away. And so
I think people are going to be totally blown away with this podcast and who you are. Like,
I think that we haven't really hung out a whole lot, the three of us. So, but a lot of people, like, they just got to spend a little bit of time with me. I open up, but I'm just a little closed off. That's just who I am. There's not anything. It's not like I went through this hard time and now I'm just shy. It's just who I am. Like, especially because we only ever see each other at the track usually. And even if it's the moto track, like, dude, I'm there to take the title. No, I'm just there to do my work. I'm there to do my work and I want to go home. Like, if we're gonna play, we'll go play. We'll have fun. But like at the track, I have a hard time getting out of that because for me to be my best, I need to be focused. And even if that's at PAX, dude, doing my motos, like I can cut up and laugh, but I need to be focused to do my work.
It's kind of how I do cool. It. It's fair play. I mean, also you're kind of learning through being JD's camera guy, so every day is a fucking learning day. Right? I hope you're on the payroll, dude. Right to write off.
The thing is because he's been this ice bath thing. He's just taken off with.
My!
But dude,
it is the funniest thing I've ever seen.
He's trying to take the social media next level. So like he's bought the microphones and stuff.
I saw it with the microphone.
I just mess with
planted right. I
just mess with him too. I'll be like, you want the camera angle like this? He's like, yeah. I'm like, you want me to start down and go up? And like, I'll just ask a million. He's like, dude, just take the damn video. And I'm like, oh my God.
You guys ought to just split a videographer and just have him live with you guys.
I know. Well, dude, it's actually kind of what we're talking about doing. So it's like, and it's funny too, because there's so many times in the house where we'll just be cracking up at something somebody said or does. And I'm like, nobody's here to even see it. Like, they think we're just robots. Like, we roll to the moto track, we ride, and we go back and we, JD does 1,000 pull-ups and then we go to bed and then we get up and we run 10 miles in the morning and we're like Goggins. Yeah.
What's the heart rate?
And I'm like,
zone 2 only. Zone 2.
I'm like, dude, we have fun. Like it's
my favorite. I give JD so much shit. I'm like, hey man, when are you going to take a day off and come do a coffee ride? Can't do it. Yeah. Oh no. You know what?
I don't drive to ride my bicycle. I'll ride to DeLand.
That's what he says. He always says it. And I'm like, dude, just come for a coffee ride. I don't do that.
But dude, JD just doesn't get out of his tree, and that's fun for him. So it's like it's
cool.
He is funny, dude. Like some of the stuff he says and does, like it's
older
fun.
He gets, definitely the more he's relaxed.
Yeah, oh yeah,
He's
sure.
Totally more laid back. And after the pod, I don't know. I feel like he's pretty funny. He is funny. I think one day I was just leaning my bike over at the moto track.
Trying to unflood it or what?
Are you talking about 2 days?
They're like, bro,
whoa.
Your bike's got no oil in it.
I didn't say anything.
Hey, bud, your bike's got no oil in it. So I'm fucking over there.
I didn't say anything, dude.
Leaning this thing over. JD walks over and he's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Fucking big dog."
Damn it,
Like,
Cody didn't put any fucking oil in.
we changed the oil tonight. Like
JD said
and now it's over
that-
fucking filled. I got 17 quarts in the bitch because JD's like, fucking, you gotta put 34 quarts in it or else it's like, oh my God, dude, what the hell, dude?
Well, the first time he's seen me use a torque wrench, he's literally standing over me and he's like, "What is that?" And I'm like, "Dude, it's a torque wrench." He's like, "I got one, but it's electronic." I'm like, "Dude, is that Newton meters? Can I try it?" He's like, "Yeah." And then
Was yours old school or?
no, I just got some Tanichi ones. They're called. They're some cheaper
Tanichis
ones.
are
They're
nice.
yeah, they're in Newton meters. But I've got one for like my axle and all this stuff. He's like, "Can I try it?" I'm like, "Yeah, dude, you can try it."
Dude, at the moto track, dude, he's like, "You torque those?" And I'm like, "Cody, do we torque these?" And he goes, and JD literally, 'cause I was fucking with him. He looks at me, he goes, "You don't know what you torque those?" And I was like,
Dude, to tell you how locked in he is, he has a piece of paper with his torque specs that's laminated with his number on it.
dude, I texted him. I said, "Yo, I said, "We're doing the linkages. What's the torque?" And he goes, "That's 53 on the top, 72 on the bottom, and I think that's 62 in the middle one there." And I was like, "For real?" And he goes, "Newton meters." Like, dude, what the fuck?
No, it's funny. I remember one time I got him this just saying funny stuff he does. I got him this apron to cook in, and it said like, "Shut up and eat my meat." and it was just funny. But so the one year it's just us in the house, and I'm sitting in the living room watching TV. Who knows how long he's standing there? Dude goes down to his underwear and is just cooking in there, waiting for me to walk in, but I never walk in. So he's like, "Yo, food's ready." And I walk around. I'm like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I thought you were going to come around a lot earlier, dude. This was going to be real funny, and now it's just odd." And I'm like, "What are you doing, dude?"
Oh, that's awesome. I love it. I love it. Well, I mean, you listen to the pod, then
Yeah, I know what's coming.
you know what's coming.
I don't know. I'm kind of torn in between. what I'm gonna
Hold
say.
on, but what are you going to fucking death row for? Because you're kind of a homebody.
No,
Like,
no, that's for you guys. To
what
come
is
up
he?
With.
I don't know. What did he?
Killed some guy at the track that was talking shit on Facebook.
Oh, dude, I did
probably.
yell. Dude, that day you guys were there, dude. On the before the
mean?
not you, the dude before the finish table goes from the left to the right, and I'm in a stoppie. I'm like, "Yo, yo, 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 yo," and he finally and he's like, "Sorry." Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I ripped that guy's head off. I yelled at him for a minute, dude. I about cleaned him up.
Have you ever gotten into like a scruffle at the track? Like, I mean, you seem pretty
I mean, I've gotten into,
chill. Like, I've never even seen you yell.
I'm kind of a hothead
Who
sometimes.
did you yell at?
When?
I don't know. Like,
I don't know. I've yelled at a lot of people, dude. I yelled at a parent one time for riding on the track while it was hot. And
but have you got like recently? Like, have you gotten in anything like racing? Like,
I mean, I yelled at Briar and Sturgis.
oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, you guys chirped a bit.
on the track, yeah. But I mean, outside of that, no. If I'm yelling something, I have a reason. You know, I'm not just yelling.
All right, I don't know why. Okay, I don't know. What do you think he did?
I think he's going after somebody that was talking shit online.
Okay,
Ooh, that's a good
okay.
one.
You burned the flat track form to the ground on Facebook, and now you're on death row. What's your death row meal?
All right, so there's a place in Arizona when we were staying out there called Firebirds. Did you ever eat there?
I don't think so.
They've got this chicken pasta that's holy shit. So I'm gonna go with the chicken pasta, and then they got a salad there that's like a BLT salad. But so this is weird. Can I mix restaurants?
I don't care.
You don't
Yeah,
care. I'm on
dude,
death row, dude. I can eat whatever the hell I want.
fuck you want, dude.
Leave me alone, dude. So I'm gonna go Caesar salad from Texas Roadhouse. They're really good.
They're so good.
They are really
I'm
good.
going, yeah.
Croutons.
Yes.
Heavy on the croutons.
And then the cheese. Oh, dude, it's just
layered on the top.
it's just nice. And then we don't need to get
It's
into
like
that.
12,000 calories.
cares?
Oh, dude, and then the chicken pasta is like another 1,300. And then I like bread with the pasta, so I'm gonna go with that. And then I don't know. I like a good soda. I don't know. Roger's like Coke. I'm like, I don't know. I'd probably go with the soda, and then
What kind?
Dr. Pepper.
23 flavors.
Yeah, dude, it's really good. It's a sweet one. And then I don't know, dessert. I don't know, like a vanilla cake maybe. I'm a cake guy. I like cake. It's good. vanilla cake and ice cream. Sounds really weird, dude. I like it. I do though, dude. I'm sorry.
Someone's got to clip that into a meme.
I don't mean it like that.
It's all right, dude. Everyone's got their thing.
I'm not really a chocolate cake guy.
Dude, that's the best thing I heard. Yeah, vanilla cake. It's good.
It is,
I'm a
dude.
cake guy.
But like just
I'm a
simple.
cake
Like
guy.
I'm a simple guy. I ain't
Like
trying to have
confetti
like,
cake or-
no, like no strawberry, no confetti cake bullshit. Just give me a vanilla cake with a nice icing on it.
Vanilla.
I don't really
icing or
eat it,
chocolate
but dude, if
icing
I'm
on it?
dying, I want it. You know?
What do you drink?
No, not really. You know,
Only
Fair
with
play.
Max.
every once in a while. Yeah, I mean, you know, win the championship. Yeah, Dad and I. You know, Dad and I had our first beer together when we won the championship, but.
Just pop a few off.
Yeah, not my mom.
Sink a
My
few
parents
vessels.
enjoy having a good time, and my sister for sure has a great time. But I don't need to. I don't need to go to do that. I just like being around the boys or whoever. I don't have to. I don't not drink. It's not like it's a thing or whatever. But dude, don't look at me like that.
Dude, you keep talking.
Oh, that's cool. All right, so we got chicken pasta, Caesar salad from Texas Roadhouse, and cake.
Vanilla cake.
Yeah, dude, you gotta
It's
go with
good.
cake. Yeah,
with
it's
a
good.
Coke. All right.
No, Dr. Pepper.
Dr. Pepper. Yeah, sorry.
Dude, Dallas Daniels, 3 hours 20. This is big.
That is a big one. I appreciate you guys having me on. I'm pumped. I'm a fan of the show. I'm a fan of you guys, and yeah, it's a good off season to do it. I feel like
It's great off season to do it.
Should be an exciting year coming up too.
Yeah.
for sure.
Same thing, right? Same bikes, roughly.
Same deal for me, just different number.
Oh, yeah, you're going to run it. That's what I was going to ask.
Hell yeah, I'm not. I don't. Yeah, dude, I'm getting number 1 tattooed on my back. I worked my
Hell
whole
yeah.
life to run
I
it.
fucking
You know what I
can't
mean?
stand when people don't run the one.
I know. Yeah.
It pisses me off.
Yeah.
Are you gonna go to a different number after?
You go to single digit.
Yeah, no, I've been saying I'd like to just run the number 1 till I'm done, but if I had to pick,
Baby.
yeah, I would.
Hey,
I would.
Clip it.
that's his title right
Clip
there.
it.
That Dallas Daniels, run the one until I'm done.
If I had to pick a single digit, I would want 2 just because I used to think they were so awesome.
2? What'd you say?
No, I said if I had to run
Oh.
a single digit if I lose the title, then I would just because
What
they
would
were,
it be?
I don't know. Nothing above 5 really interests me. I don't like 6 or
So-
7.
Kind of
So-
limits your options to 2, 3, or 4.
Yeah. So 2 or 4, basically.
Kenny Coolbath or fucking Chris Carr?
See, now I'm like Coolbath, McGrath, like
Yeah.
or I
King
go
of
like,
cool.
Chris Carr helped me a little bit, or Carmichael, like, Parker was number 2, Kenny Roberts.
All right, cool.
know.
Dude, Dallas Daniel, thank you for coming on the
a wrap.
podcast.
It's a wrap.
This is it, baby.
Appreciate it.
No, thank you.
Dreams, I wanna see 'em alive.